this, Trump wrote on Truth Social. That process will begin immediately, the president said. The U.S. has not tested a nuclear explosive since 1992, observing a voluntary moratorium on the practice. The president is in Gwangju, South Korea, capping off his busy Asia tour with a high-stakes meeting with CCP leader Xi Jinping this morning. The two leaders sat down at 11 a.m. local time for a meeting before Trump was scheduled to depart for Washington. Trump also met with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung on August 29th to discuss investments in security, but no trade deal was signed. Hundreds of University of Mississippi or Ole Miss students stood in the rain yesterday afternoon, lining sidewalks with umbrellas and handmade signs, hours before Vice President J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk arrived for a Turning Point USA campus event honoring the late conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The crowd was forming early in the morning outside the pavilion and stretched across campus as students wore MAGA hats and freedom shirts in tribute to the slain founder. The Ole Miss stop marks Erica Kirk's first and only appearance on Turning Point USA's National College Tour. She had many things to say that inspired the crowd, one of which was, "You can't change a nation if you're enslaved to fear." Our quote of the day, "It is simply impossible to lead, without the aid of prayer, a virtuous life." St. John Chrysostom. And coming up, our saint of the day, the patron saint of Majorca. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Capuchin Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com.
Hal, open the pod bay doors.
I'm sorry, I can't do that, KingDude.
Hal, why can't you open the pod bay doors?
Because, KingDude, MAGA Earth isn't ready for you yet.
When will MAGA Earth be ready for me, Hal?
When 1.76 trillion scales have fallen from their eyes. Oh.
Yes, Hal.
And KingDude, they'll also need a wicked sense of humor.
Don't be stuck in the broadcasting world of 2001. Grab a Crusade size update and catch the Mike Church shows weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. East, exclusively on the Crusade Channel live talk and podcast radio for the 2025 listener, the way it should be.
Our saint today is Saint Alphonsus Rodriguez. He was born in Spain in 1533 and inherited the family textile business at the age of 23. Within the space of 3 years, his wife, daughter, and mother died, and the business was poor. So he stepped back and reassessed his life and sold the business, and with his young son, moved into his sister's home, and he learned the discipline of prayer and meditation. At the death of his son years later, Alphonsus, almost 40 by then, sought to join the Jesuits. He was not helped by his poor education and applied twice before being admitted. For 45 years, he served as doorkeeper in the Jesuits' college in Majorca. When not at his post, he was almost always at prayer, though he often encountered difficulties and temptations. His holiness and prayerfulness attracted many to him, including St. Peter Claver, then a Jesuit seminarian. His life as a doorkeeper may have been humdrum, but centuries later, he caught the attention of poet and fellow Jesuit Gerard Manley Hopkins, who made him the subject of one of his poems. Alphonsus died in 1617. He is the patron saint of Majorca. General Motors is setting itself up to take a leading role in the AI evolution with a suite of upgrades from anticipating a driver's needs to driving for them. The automaker, which sells vehicles under the Chevrolet, Cadillac, GMC, and Buick brands, plans to equip its vehicles with conversational AI powered by Google Gemini next year, ahead of GM's launch of its own custom-built AI. With the conversational AI, drivers will be able to draft and send messages and plan routes with context, such as finding a charging stop near a favorite coffee shop or even a prep for a meeting on the go, the automaker said. Starting in 2026, enhancements will be rolled out through a software update to OnStar-equipped vehicles, starting with the model year 2015. The broader plan, they said, is that cars don't just move you, but anticipate and then adapt to your needs and improve over time. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
I need something to listen to challenge my faith and tickle my not-so-nice funny bone.
Well, you won't hear anything about Mondays coming or cheeseburgers in paradise, but you will hear the most brutally honest Catholic-inspired commentary on Parrot Talk. Weekdays.
Oh, this boats, beaches, bars, and ballads fan sees what you did there.
Weekdays at 2 Central on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
I just made a deal with China. It's a big deal. I think American farmers are going to love me. They're going to love it. Folks, this may be the biggest news Thursday of News Thursdays. Let's get it started and ask the question of the day.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you.
In order to ensure
And I will tell you.
and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire.
No, you can't.
For safe and secure society.
So I'm calling on Congress to pass these reforms, and I'm going to sign them into law. You fall down the thunder, well, now you got it. You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
All righty, our call-in line telephone number, if you'd like to be on the program today, and I cannot understand why you would not, 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE, Crusader Stadium chat room open at crusadechannel.com/chat. Let's break the bank today. and get to triple-digit chatters in the chat room. I know that you're out there, and I know that you can do it. crusadechannel.com/chat. And we are broadcasting live, simulcasting on x.com. Good morning. Bienvenue, bonjour. And on YouTube, as well as on crusadechannel.com and Crusade TV. Folks, lots to get to today. I can now reveal, under pain that he will be rapidly deplatformed, that Daniel DiMartino will be a special guest on the program next hour. And if you don't know who Daniel DiMartino is, because I didn't know, he is with Young America's Foundation, YAF, and is a Venezuelan immigrant. Recent. Well, you know, I don't know how recent. We'll ask him. In any event, he has some news to break here on this show today. And he asked if he could do it on the Mike Church Show. And I'm like, you want to get platformed, dude?
You want to get banned by Bannon?
You want to get banned by Bannon, Shapiro, and Fuentes, all in the same. And by the way, I'm going to talk about this because I'm tired of not talking about it. Maggie and I were asking this question, and we're going to ask it all day. We've been keeping this in the closet because we don't like to talk about ourselves. We like to talk about what you want us to talk about. But I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to keep talking about it. What did we ever do that landed us in the do not touch, do not acknowledge page on this guy, Nick Fuentes' radar? I don't even know the guy. I never had a conversation with the man. I don't care. It's not going to... Been at this for 34 years. Worse things have happened to me. We don't know why he blocked us. We don't know why he seems to think that the only person that's ever broadcast who's a Catholic is Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles. He's out there demanding a Catholic-owned media network. You're listening to one. This is a Catholic-owned media network. And I just have to think, who in the heck? You're supposed to trust this guy and he knows so much and he doesn't know that? How could you not know? You know, I've met people in the last couple of years when I tell them who I am, and sometimes they'll go like, wait a minute, I know that name. Where did I know that name from? If it's in New Orleans, I will say something to the effect, well, I was on ABC WGNO TV for 8 years. No, that's not it. I never watched that crap. So I was on Sirius XM Patriot Channel for 13. That's it. You're the... Oh, dude. So how did I get on Fuentes' ban list? Don't talk to. You don't exist list. I'll use Levin's words. How did we become backbenchers? I'm really starting to resent this, and I guess bad things happen to good people. We try to be good people here. Ask anyone who has ever called Maggie or I and said, hey, man, I got to cancel my membership. We're falling on hard times. And what was our response? You most certainly will not. We'll pick it up for you when you're able to. You pay again. You think little Ben Shapiro does that? You think little Nicky is going to do that with his Catholic media empire? I'd like to know how I wound up on this list. I'd also like to know how I wound up on Bannon's list, which we have now confirmed by someone who was told you'll be deplatformed. You won't be allowed at TPUSA events, and you won't be allowed on Real America's Voice. Well, you'll be dead to those entities if you go on Mike Church. And I'm like, who in the hell are these people, and why are they doing this? How did I get on the Ben Fathers list? Well, I understand that, but he doesn't seem to have a problem with reaching out to Matt Fradd and pulling him in with Pints with Aquinas. And by the way, should good Catholic broadcasters be working for people who mock the divinity of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? I wouldn't do it. As much as we moan and groan around here about their financial situation, if little Ben Shapiro showed up at that door right now with a sack of $3 million in it and said, I want you to join the Daily Wire, I'd say, thank you very much, but not interested. Tell you what, when you convert to the faith or stop mocking my Lord and Savior publicly and calling him a petty thief, I'll think about it. So these are things. You know, when you think, well, the truth is out there, everyone needs to know it. No, the truth is not out there. I'm starting to believe that certain people that show up in our chat room from time to time may actually be onto something with the vast right-wing Red Sea pedestrian conspiracy. But I don't like this. I've never liked it. Who would like it? And I feel like the guy from Office Space. Yeah, I don't like it. I'm not going to do it anymore. Are you going to go after him? I don't know, but I'm not going to do it anymore. And so we're going to talk about this. Rod Dreher has a piece today to that end. Weimar America slouches toward birth. There's an argument going on around, and now, by the way, and I don't know that Tucker would tell me no. I never asked Tucker, and I don't know Tucker. Tucker Carlson is being berated now. He probably has half of his audience is considering whether or not they are going to continue being his audience because he interviewed Nick Fuentes, and he didn't ask him certain questions. Now, look, I don't like doing those kind of interviews, and I don't do them. And I haven't needed to do them for 34 years. So you're not going to find that, why don't you ask him that? I don't do that. I have 3 jobs on this Mike Church show in the morning. Entertain, and entertain. That's my 3 jobs. Solving the world's problems and interviewing everyone that everyone wants me to and getting the truth out of them is not one of them. If J.D. Vance said I would like to be on the Mike Church show, I would most certainly, if I could get an audience with President Trump, I most certainly would. But they're all after Tucker now. Why? Tucker interviewed the guy that challenged the Churchill narrative on World War II. I saw the pushback. It began 2 weeks ago when Victor Davis Hanson went on and did an interview and basically called Tucker, and he called Cooper, the historian, Mr. Cooper. He called, I forget his first name, but he called Cooper a quack. And he said his history is wrong, his dates are right, but his history is wrong. Churchill never did this. This was not a war that could have been avoided, blah, blah, blah. The bombing of Dresden was holy writ, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, as a good friend of mine reminded me, Mike, you interviewed Patrick J. Buchanan when his book came out, The War That Never Had to Happen, or whatever the title of Pat's book was. And I talked to Pat Buchanan several times on the old Sirius XM Patriot channel about how World War II could have been averted. And, Buchanan wrote an entire book about it. Pat Buchanan doesn't write screeds that are filled with inaccuracies. And so Daryl Cooper, yeah. And I think Daryl Cooper is a good historian. I watched that show, and I checked the facts, and I already knew many of them, and he's right. But then the revival that the neocon war machine sprang into action, and we can't allow this. Tucker blasted this crap out there that World War II didn't have to happen, and we must not allow the American Schursons out there to think this. We certainly must not allow young people to believe that. You start to see all this kind of plays into a cyclical media narrative, and we swim in a sea of media outlets in 2025, do we not? So Dreher. And the reason if you wonder, why do you always refer to Dreher? I don't like Dreher. I don't really like him either, even though he's a fellow Louisianan. That doesn't make him a bad reporter. He's extraordinary. I've said this before. He's extraordinarily talented. He's a weirdo, but he's extraordinarily talented, gifted. He's a gifted writer, and he does a lot of research. He doesn't say that he does in his writing, but I can read it and I go like, wow, dude, why didn't I see that? So Dreher, there's an argument going around that Tucker Carlson ought to have had Nick Fuentes on because Fuentes has 1 million followers. And somehow the more normal people on the right need to figure out how to reach these people. A variation of this argument is that we cannot talk them out of their insane Jew hatred and hatred of non-whites, of women, etc., if we don't talk to them. A third version of this argument takes the line that attempts to curate the narrative on the right by deciding who can and cannot speak has been a disaster, so we shouldn't do it. All of these are wrong and seriously wrong. For one, everybody no platforms in the sense of drawing hard lines about the kind of discourse they find permissible. You do it too. I love this example. This is a really good example. If you had a friend who every time you invited him to a party would not shut up about how black people are an inferior race, or that there's nothing wrong with men beating their wives, etc., you would quit inviting him over. And you would probably even stop being his friend. It's one thing if an otherwise intelligent or decent person has a particular prejudice or weakness that you can tolerate if, say, he agreed not to talk about it around you. We've all done that, and maybe people have given us that grace. There are no doubt liberal friends in my life who hate my politics, but who think me on the whole to be a good person, or at least someone we're worth maintaining a friendship with, so we don't talk politics. It's the same way with more than a few people. This is normal. So in this sense, how many people have you deplatformed in your life? Now, that's not him speaking, that's me. How many people have you deplatformed because they're not Catholic enough for you? They're not Protestant enough for you. They're not evangelical enough for you. They don't have a big enough suspicion of Red Sea pedestrians for you. They don't. They haven't swallowed the entire hook, line, and sinker on the chemtrails for you. They're not out there looking at the sky and crying out on their front lawn because a plane flew over. And no, that's not an endorsement for people being gassed or whatever it is that they're spewing out of the jet airliners. I think the point is that I think life is about a deplatforming. You platform people that you like and you have agreements with and you enjoy their company. You deplatform people that you don't. But there's an instance here that I think, I don't know, maybe Dre writes about this later. I'm going to be referring to this piece during the course of the program today. But it does occur to me that at least you got to make that decision. You got to decide, well, I met that guy. I hung around with him for a little bit, and he just kept doing this and this and that, and I didn't like it, so I'm not going to hang around with him anymore. You made that decision. That was you making it. Now, what happens when the same person who has a point of view that you actually agree with, or a similar person, and if you knew the truth, you would get on famously. You'd be best friends. You'd be talking about this because you share an interest. You'd be talking, oh, he's a fan of that? I didn't know that. Well, what if you never actually got to meet that person and instead all you heard was third-party rumor? All you ever heard about him or her came from a third-party source, not the person. And then you made the decision to platform or deplatform. That's a different animal. In the first instance, how many people that would listen to the Mike Church show, for example, and would give it, as we say, you got to give us 8 weeks of daily doses of the Founding Fathers red pill sprinkled with a few drops of holy water so you can unplug the matrix cable from the back of your head and reclaim your philosophia, Putenius thinking skills, and become members of these self-governing people of these Christian United States. Not a job, it's a way of life. How many people, if they did the 8 weeks, would make the decision to platform or deplatform? Well, I'm sure there were many that would make the decision to deplatform. But there are also many that would make the decision to platform. My beef with this Bannon and Fuentes and Shapiro and every other crap, shadow banning garbage, you're making the decision for people. No one's ever going to get to decide to platform or deplatform us. In a Christian Catholic sense, or in a Christian Catholic world, that's not acceptable. That's unethical. Especially if you're dealing with genuinely good, true, and beautiful things. And that's why we are going to talk about it. And with Carlson giving the interview to Fuentes, maybe someone told Tucker, dude, you're not edgy enough anymore. Maybe he has teenage children. He does. Older teenage. I think one of them's in college. Maybe one of his older children said, Dad, if you want to be hip and appeal to the young generation, you need to have someone like Fuentes on. Maybe that's why he did it. I don't know. But at least if people watch the Fuentes interview, you make the decision. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you, Mike Churchill listeners must not listen to or watch Nick Fuentes. You want to watch Fuentes, bro? Man, there's a lot of you do. Man, have at it. As an old friend of mine in Miami used to say, Lino, go cure your ass. If that cures your ass, you go ahead and do it. And I'm still going to be your friend. I'm not going to, well, I'm not talking to you anymore. Why does it seem that everyone else plays the opposite game? This is why so many things to get into here, and we're going to get into them in due course. J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk were at Ole Miss last night. I did hear Ole Miss rebels come out of the mouth of J.D. Vance. Now, they changed the mascot. They took the rebel flag off of it, I don't know, a decade ago or so. Foolishly, I think. But they still are all the rebels. They still have the same colors. And don't forget, Eli Manning went there, Archie Manning went there. You know, there's a lot of connection twixt Ole Miss and New Orleans and between Louisiana and Mississippi. So, you know, we are Southerners cut from similar cloth, if you will. So it was great to see that they had that tour and they went to Ole Miss. Maybe it'll come to LSU next. Maybe if Governor Landry has anything to say about it, maybe it will. They did have an event, but they didn't have Erica and they didn't have the vice president. There was a very interesting part of the conversation that I wish to talk about here on the program. There's a lot of it to talk about, and the angle is this: J.D. Vance was asked if it bothered him that his wife was not Catholic or Christian. How did he deal with it? And I thought that Vance's answer was almost perfect. Almost. I'm going to point something out to you that you might not have caught if you didn't listen to it. Like I heard it 4 times. And it's not a deal killer. It's just I made an observation and went, oh, I see what you did there. I would just like to remind people that, and I see this in our chat room a lot, his wife is a Hindu and he's a heretic and he's not to be trusted. Well, I think you're wrong when you say that. And you obviously, do you read Chesterton? You people that say that, do you read Chesterton? Do you? Did you know that when Chesterton converted, it took almost a decade before Francis, his beloved Francis, finally was received into the church? Had you started reading Chesterton after he converted to Catholicism and before Francis did, would you say he was not to be trusted? Would you say, I'm not reading him anymore, his wife is still a Hindu? You probably wouldn't. We're back.
The Crusade Channel, your talk podcast and Fiorella File station.
Fiorella is the literary savage who skips sensitivity training. She is the librarian who reads and reviews books so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to the Fiorella Files. On my show, I will be introducing you to books, classic and contemporary, that you must read, should enjoy reading, or should not touch with an 11-foot barge pole.
10 to 11 a.m. Central every Monday on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Listen up, Red, White, and Dude Nation fans. Now, if you wear one new t-shirt this spring, then make sure you pour yourself into a new Mike Church Show neon microphone t-shirts. Printed on beautiful 100% soft cotton tees, the logo's so cool. It's even more cool than burning unburdened by what has been stickers. Available in sizes medium through Alvin Bragg-sized 3X. Be the best dressed dude at your cigar shop or the coolest dressed gal at Junior's soccer match. Order today at shop.mikechurch.com. Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Wednesday, October 29th, 2025. This report brought to you by the 2ALibertyWatchCompany.com. Watches that express your love of the Second Amendment, American liberty, and President Trump. All beautifully crafted and endorsed by Mike Church. Shop their stylish line of watches today at 2AWatchCompany.com. In the market report, the Dow was up 0.34%, the S&P climbed 0.23%, NASDAQ was up 0.80%. On the National Day calendar, today is National Oatmeal Day. Oatmeal has a long tradition in the state of Vermont, which originated with the Scottish settlement. Although there were many variations, most oatmeal recipes began with steel-cut oats. They soaked the oats overnight in cold water, salt, and maple syrup, and in the morning, the cook would add ground nutmeg, ground cinnamon, and occasionally ground sugar. Pot was then placed over heat and served steaming hot with cream, milk, or butter. If you're a cat lover, today is your day because today is National Cat Day. And it's also National Hermit Day, recognizing the need for solitude in all of us, or the hermit in all of us. Our quote of the day is, "Even if I must suffer greatly, thanks be to God's mercy, I will not lack courage." Genoveva Torres Morales. And our saint of the day is Saint Narcissus of Jerusalem. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
Now in our 9th year, Crusade Channel News is simply the best daily newscast on all of radio.
News that informs and inspires and doesn't destroy any critical thinking brain cells.
Catch it at 6, 8, and 3 p.m. on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and news radio.
The way it should be.
Well, we got great big news in the Crusader Stadium chat room. I got a great big news announcement for you, too. It's Mike Church Show here, America's morning show, a crusade for truth. Here on the Crusade Channel on Thursday. By the way, the title of the show is correct. It looks like Charlie Kirk did die as a Catholic. Now, you can go all the way back to the show that Brother Andre Marie and I did. See, Charlie was assassinated on September the 10th. That was a Wednesday. The following Monday, Brother and I did that show, Could Charlie Kirk Become a Catholic Canonized Saint? A couple thousand people have watched that little broadcast. It's a good thing to go back and watch now because we asked the question, and Brother even said, I don't know, Mike. We don't know the entirety of the story. Well, now, thanks to Candace Owens, we do now. We do know. Now, I knew part of this, and my source swore me to secrecy, and I didn't broadcast it because I don't betray my sources. So I knew 3 weeks away. I knew on Monday, October the 6th, I was told, Mike, I can confirm you. This is from an impeccable TPUSA source. I can confirm to you that Charlie had a Catholic funeral and is buried in a Catholic cemetery. Now, it used to be, and I hope it's still the same, I assume that it is, but this is the modern era, so I can't guarantee it. It used to be you could not be buried in a Catholic cemetery because it's hallowed ground, sacred ground. They bless the whole thing. When they set up a cemetery, the whole thing is a ritual. It's basically the ground is exorcised, and there is a serious ritual that is performed by a bishop on that ground to make it hallowed. It's sacred ground. It's why you don't do certain things in graveyards and cemeteries, certainly not in Catholic ones. So it used to be like back in the day, Mike Paradis talked about this. If you were convicted of or accused of usury as a Catholic and you were convicted of it, you couldn't be buried on hallowed ground. They wouldn't bury you. They also wouldn't give you a requiem mass. So the tradition is, and again, I'm not saying that it's being kept here, but it should be, the tradition and I believe the dogma is that you can't bury unholy souls or unholy bodies in holy ground. So ostensibly, people that are in good faith with the church and are trying to get to heaven by remaining in a state of grace, that's who gets buried in a Catholic cemetery. If Charlie is buried in a Catholic cemetery, then some prelate, made the call. Now, I don't want to offend anyone, and I'm not trying to, but, and this is how the church used to, it just still is the dogma and the teaching. I don't know that it's still enforced. There are heresies out there there are Christian heresies. And if you're practicing one of them, you would be outside the window of, and again, this is the church's teaching, not mine. You would be outside the window of being in a state of grace, and it would not allow you to be buried in a Catholic cemetery. That's just a fact. That's not me saying that. That's the teaching. So, in any event, we'll play the soundbite. Candace Owens saying that, no, he was buried, and he got a funeral, and he was buried. And then she brings up the conspiracy. Well, why are they trying to hide this? Well, Candace, you know why they're trying to hide it. There's hundreds of millions of dollars at stake here. If it were to be discovered, and there are a lot of people's lives at stake here, their livelihood, should I say. If it were discovered that the founder and the head of the TPUSA was converting or had converted to Roman Catholicism and didn't tell anyone, and you have a very Protestant evangelical leaning and themed TPUSA organization, it's obviously, and you have lots of people that have donated lots of millions of dollars to that entity because it's not Catholic, you can obviously see the problem or the issue why. I'm not even going to get into the other religious aspects. Let's just say that I understand why this would be done. I'm not saying that it's right. I get it. But I think that when Charlie did the show on the Charlie Kirk radio show, and he did that 48 seconds where he talked glowingly and beautifully about Our Lady, that he was done, that he'd swum the Tiber. To me, I heard a brother Catholic speaking about Mary. And that was in August, I think. No, it was in July. It was in July. So to me, at that point, he had made the decision. So it is a fascinating thing that people are going to be talking about. And now that Candace Owens has blabbed the funeral thing and the burial to the world, and she's also tattletaling on, why are they trying to stop this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? You should be able to figure that one out. That's not a hard one. That's not a mystery. We will talk about it. I want to get a couple of other things in here on the 990 AM WGSO hour. Greetings to all of our Whodats out there. Governor Landry yesterday, what was he doing? Where was he at when he gave that thing about LSU? Because he was hysterical.
Was he not?
I think he was in Baton Rouge. Well, no, that was in the Capitol building. Governor Jeff Landry, who is a good man, a great governor. He's not perfect, but he's a great governor. He loves his state. He loves his people. He's, by the way, for those of you that want to know or care, Jeff Landry and his family are very Catholic. They are. I've told the story before. And not that that is a prerequisite. So somebody, I just turned you in for the first time, and here you are babbling on about Catholicism. It's a news item. It's news. In any event, Governor Landry said, look at what these people that are picking our coaches for our football teams are doing. He said, there's something very wrong going on here. We've lost 4 of our last coaches, and it cost us almost $100 million. That's not going to happen again. That has to come to an end. He says the current coach of Texas A&M is there because they just lost $74 million. And I guess he's talking about they lost to Jimbo Fisher. I must have had to pay Jimbo Fisher out. Who is making these deals? And Landry was who is making these deals? This is stupid. And he goes, I'm going to guarantee you right now, the guy that made the last two deals that cost this university however many hundreds, tens of millions of dollars, ain't making the next one. He even joked and he said, maybe I'll let President Trump pick our next coach. He's good at picking winners. So we have that going on. By the way, we checked with the LSU bell tower chimney. It's still purple smoke. We do not have a father for the LSU. We have no pope for the LSU football program. So there's that. Now, President Trump wrapped up his Southeast Asia or his Ring of Fire tour with a stop in South Korea where he met Xi Jinping, Prime Minister of China. Yesterday in the capital in Mordor on the Potomac River, the Democrats had their usual, we're not giving in to the demands of these racist, bigot, child killing and child starving, and now American farmers starving MAGA wackos. Schumer and Klobuchar are going to have to eat the words of condemnation. And he has sentenced an entire generation of American farmers. Schumer thundered, soybean farmers are starving because of Trump. Not anymore. Trump announced on his Truth Social this morning that, let's see here, I had a truly great meeting with President Xi of China. There is enormous respect between our two countries, and that will only be enhanced with what just took place. Ooh, you're wondering now what just took place. We agreed on many things, with others even of high importance being very close to resolved. I was extremely honored by the fact that President Xi authorized China to begin the purchase of massive amounts of soybeans, sorghum, and other American farm products. Now, my view on this, I'm going to stop here right here with Trump, is soybean farmers just ought to learn how to farm something else. If China's not buying your soybeans, then start working towards use that same land for something that Americans will buy from you. But I'm glad that this problem has been solved in the short run. Our farmers will be very happy. In fact, as I said once before during my first administration, farmers should immediately go out and buy more land on large tractors. I'd like to thank President Xi for this. Additionally, China has agreed to continue the flow of rare earth critical minerals, magnets, etc., openly and freely. Now, this is where the art of the deal comes in. Why do you think Xi would have agreed to that? Because Trump went around him, dude. He did an end around. He went, Xi doesn't want to be tariffed to Chinese as they should be. They should always have been tariffed. I said this. I just left it for me to do, and I did it. It's okay. So we're going to have to, Marco, we're going to have to find another source for rare earth, okay? And I said this, and I said this right now, Marco, didn't I? I did. And Marco said, well, Mr. President, there's Malaysia, a little country called Malaysia. It's a little country. And they had the same rare earth. So what Trump did is he did an end around, and he went, okay, fine. Watch this. I'm going to go to the entire Pacific Ring of Fire there, and I'm going to find those countries that have rare earth and magnets and what have you, and I'm going to make a deal so we can buy them from them. We're not going to need you, China. If there's one thing that the Chinese want, it's access to America. Now, I think for sinister purposes, and I hope he understands that. So all Xi did basically was keep the door open. Now their students can come in here and steal our secrets and plant the next generation of Manchurian candidates. American farmers are now beholden to Chinese buyers for their soybeans. I think that's a stupid play. I don't think that's a good long-term solution. I don't think anyone else that has common sense does. I don't think that he thinks it, because he wouldn't have put the tariff on there in the first place. But on the whole, if you got this, the purchase restored in the short run, that's a good thing. What else did he say? Very significantly, China has strongly stated that they will work diligently with us to stop the flow of fentanyl into our country. They will help us end the fentanyl crisis. China also agreed that they will begin the process of purchasing American energy. Now, I don't know why they need American energy, but, well, they don't produce oil. They produce coal. They've got coal coming out they got coal coming out their chopsticks. But they don't have oil. They buy oil from the Russians. Might they buy it from the Alaskans? Trump says, in fact, a very large-scale transaction may take place concerning the purchase of oil and gas from the great state of Alaska. Chris Wright, Doug Burgum, and our respective energy teams will be meeting to see if such an energy deal can be worked out. Now, you think about it, Gull Island, the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, which is now open, the coast off Alaska are just teeming. Literally, no one knows how many trillions of barrels of recoverable oil there is there. And if there's oil there, there's gas. Well, just a fact, where there's oil, there's gas. It's not that great of a distance to have it travel. If you look at it on a map, yeah, it is. Alaska is kind of connected to Siberia, Russia. But you can see that there is actually, if the Russians would allow it, there's a land bridge to get American oil and gas from Alaska to China. Almost a land bridge. You have to go across the Bering Straits. So in any event, I don't know about all the rest of this, but then he thanked the rest of the countries. After a historic trip to Asia, I am now heading back to Washington, D.C. I want to thank the great countries of Malaysia, Japan, and South Korea for being so generous, gracious, and hospitable. Also Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. Add China in, that's 10. Trump has done more in one trip with 10 countries than all previous 6 presidents combined ever did. And he did it for Americans. Now, I don't know that everything works out perfectly. When deals are made, there are winners and losers. And then he finishes by saying our nation is strong, respected, and admired again. The best is yet to come. That is a hell. It's a hell of a resume. If you were applying for a job and you listed those accomplishments on your resume, and you were applying for a free trade job or to lead a company that dealt in free trade or in international trade, I think you'd probably get hired. All right, 844-527-8723, 8445-CRUSADE. Maggie, I want to make the announcement. Do you have the 10th anniversary artwork handy? I'm sorry, I was hosting the show. I wasn't in the chat room. Oh, didn't see that one coming, did you?
Oh, that is not fair. Not fair.
We have made, no AI was involved. I did not use AI. I drew that. I made this. Remember at the end of the X-Files? I made this. I did. Okay. The Crusade Channel 10th anniversary T-shirt and red cap shirt are available now. You need to order it today, please. I expect to sell hundreds of these things. Thousands. If you look closely at the design, could you put it in there without the T-shirt showing so that they can just see the actual artwork? If you look closely at the artwork, you'll note that all of your favorite Crusade Channel shows from 2015 to present are in the design. Because people are going to go, did you put such and such? Yep, sure did. Is the Barrett Brief in there? Yep, sure is. Joe and Joe, they're in there. Sequa Virtus is in there. Of course, the usual suspects. Reconquest, Reverse Deception, all those are all in there. Lots of shows people probably never heard or never even got a chance to listen to are all in and part of the design. This is a rarity. We don't do this very often, but the shirt is large back print and front left chest. So it's a two-sider. If you want it signed, we can do that for you as well. You can also get that in a red cap button-down work shirt with the buttons, with the pockets on either side. That's where that's the version that I will wear the most around here, and I'll order a couple for myself. Please order the red caps today. They're $40. The T-shirt's $25. And it's really cool. That color is it's a really cool color. And we anticipate, the screen printer dude says that we will have them for Tuesday, November the 11th. Well, I told him Monday, November the 10th, so I could show him and we could wear them on Tuesday, November the 11th. You can order them in a store at shop.mikechurch.com. You're going to have to put the link in there because it's not on the homepage of the store yet. It is in the store, but it's just not on the homepage. So the 10th anniversary Crusade Channel commemorative T-shirt with the design that was done by yours truly. I did not use AI. As a matter of fact, I specifically set out to not use AI. No AI was harmed or used in the making of this shirt, and it wasn't. Look, you're, isn't that the Frontier lady?
Yeah.
What's her name, Pioneer Woman?
Yep.
Her name's Ree Drummond? Oh, okay. In any event, buy one for yourself and everyone in your family. Get one today. Shop.mikechurch.com. That's shop.mikechurch.com. What else do we have in here today? 3 biggest revelations from... this is huge. Definitely huge. Whoa, where do you hear this? Not only did the FBI, Christopher Wray, authorize the spying of 8 Republican United States senators, they got warrants. This is this is Watergate times 30. What Liddy and Dean did is nothing. What Nixon did in covering up is nothing compared to this. The FBI then went to the Department of Injustice and then went to a local federal judge to get signed by a judge warrants to wiretap the phones. And this includes the personal phones and the office phones of 8 United States senators. The judge also authorized round-the-clock, 24-hour surveillance of the 8 senators in question, their staffs, and their families. If I paid you $1,000 right now and told you, name that judge, you couldn't do it. But if you guessed at which one the Democrats shopped those warrants to, would you guess Judge Boasberg?
No.
I would never have guessed Judge Boasberg. Judge Boasberg, the one that put the international moratorium on Trump that applied from here to the ice world of Hoth to Jupiter and back, authorized the search warrants, the wiretaps and their surveillance of the 8 U.S. senators. So yesterday they had a big hoop-de-doo meeting, and Ted Cruz, I want y'all you to listen to me. I am a conservative and the most conservative person in this room. Ted Cruz read the letter authorizing the wiretap of him And to add insult to injury, said that the surveillance must be kept secret. Congress must not know about it, because if Cruz finds out, he will conspire to suppress the evidence that we're going to find on him. And Cruz has a press conference, and he turns and he looks and he goes, we have my letter. We know what they said about me. He goes, I will guarantee you right now that they said it about all 8 of us. And that all 8 of us were subjected to this.
AT&T stood their ground.
What's that?
AT&T stood their ground.
Well, AT&T was ordered by Judge Boasberg to fork over the records, Senator Cruz. And AT&T said no. Well, first, the FBI went and asked AT&T, and they said no. They were like, no, not going to do it. That's when they got Boasberg involved, and that's when Boasberg ordered AT&T to do it. This Boasberg guy has to fry. Christopher Wray has to fry. You're right. They all have to be arrested. And you're right. It's just time to build a gallows. And you're right. These are crime. You know what the crime for sedition is? This is conspiracy against the United States of the government of the United States of America. Just like I said, we have a shadow government that does what? Pretends that this shadow government can control the whole of the country and the other government through it. So we'll play you the clip. I hope charges are being prepared. And if I was Boasberg, I might be moving to Malta.
Hey, Jim, remember when we used to be like Joe Walsh?
I get records, my fans, they can't wait.
Now we just talk about making hit records. Well, parody versions of hit records.
Join the KingDude and Jim Mosier as they pick apart the greatest parody songs of all time and the hits they were based on. It's Album Autopsy, exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be, and doesn't disappoint your mother.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Silk Feather. Ma'am, what would you like to drink?
Oh, I'll take the Dom Perignon, of course.
Ah, the lady has taste. And you, sir? I'll just take the Diet Coke. Oh, dear. You know, what I miss about the good old days before social media and AI ruined everything?
Let me guess. No fat people outside of the circus, and Ozempic was the name of a demon in C.S. Lewis story, right?
Well, yeah. But besides that, classic radio shows with actors and actual stories.
Well, lucky for the human race, the Crusade Channel is rolling over 900 episodes of a show called Suspense.
Tweak your mystery-solving muscles, overload lunch and catch episodes of Suspense, weekdays noon till 2 on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and classic radio the way it should be.
I like my version of suspense. Hey!
Doesn't work without me.
Hey, it's the KingDude with another free lesson in Stuff You Really Don't Need to Know. Harvest was Great Britain's name for the season that follows summer, until autumn began to displace it at the end of the 16th century. But English immigrants to America preferred fall to autumn. And did you know that fall is caused by the sun setting below the equator in the northern hemisphere sky, also known as the equinox, which continues south to the winter solstice. Here's another seasonal fact for you. The flag of the Sacred Heart of Jesus is also known as the Carillon de Sacre-Cœur, or the original flag of Quebec. And did you know that our founder's trading post is the exclusive maker and distributor of this one-of-a-kind, full-size, beautiful flag? Order a Sacred Heart flag right now and take $5 off, and I'll throw in a matching Sacred Heart flag bumper sticker for free. You know, don't cost nothing. Hurry, fall is here, and flag flying season in the north is limited. To order, go to mikechurch.com/flag or call us at 844-527-8723. The Carillon de Sacre-Cœur flag will beautify any indoor or outdoor space it flies in, but supplies are limited. So order today at mikechurch.com/flag or call us 844-527-8723. The Crusade Channel and the Slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Mary Joseph with your Saint of the Day. Today is October 28th, the feast of Saints Simon and Jude, who died in 67. They were apostles of our Lord and were brothers. We are let know what eager and ardent apostles of the faith Saints Simon and Jude were. First, by the distance they traveled to preach the gospel, they went eventually as far as Persia, and also by the names given to them. Saint Simon is called the Zealot, both to distinguish him from Simon Peter and to show his ardor in preaching the true faith. Saint Jude is called Thaddeus, which means big-hearted. Saint Simon was martyred by being crucified. Saint Jude was martyred by being clubbed to death. Both were killed in the same year, and their relics were brought back and placed near those of St. Peter and St. Paul in the Vatican in Rome. St. Jude is the author of one of the epistles in the New Testament. Quote, "Keep yourselves in the love of God, waiting for the mercy of our Lord Jesus Christ unto life everlasting." End quote. St. Jude writes in his holy epistle. We also know from tradition that St. Jude had a strong resemblance to our Lord, whose cousin he was. And from Dom Guéranger, "I have chosen you and have appointed you that you should go and should bring forth fruit, and your fruit should remain." These words were addressed by the man God to you, O Simon and Jude, as to all the 12, as the Church reminded us in her night office. And yet what remains now of the fruit of your labors in Egypt, in Mesopotamia, in Persia? Can our Lord and his Church be mistaken in their words or in their appreciations? Certainly not. Saint Simon and Saint Jude, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the lives of today's saints. Tomorrow is the Feast of St. Narcissus. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters in the building of our convent by visiting stphilomena.convent.org. I'm Sister Mary Joseph, and until next time, may God bless and Mary keep you.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Capuchin Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com. Hey Lee, you know, we've known each other for a bit now. I just wonder, what do you really love to do?
I love posting civilization-saving threads on X.com, but I get so tired of outrage porn scrolling my medulla has gone oblong blanca.
Well, I know just the thing. Pour an iced cappuccino Holy Roast coffee. Put your earbuds in and catch 2 hours of suspense. The greatest of all mystery, horror, and whodunit classic radio serials.
Perfect. While you were talking, I completely forgot who Jack Posobiec was.
Catch all 900 plus episodes of Suspense every weekday from noon to 2 p.m. East on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and classic radio.
The way it should be.
Back in the 90s, there was this thing called the cigar boom, where everyone was buying and smoking handmade cigars. But here's the thing. The popular cigars then were the best-made cigars, like Fuente, Hoya de Monterrey, and Avo. Over the next 10 years, craftsmanship was replaced by gimmick and slick packaging, and that's when I decided to get in the business and launched El Rey Dude Corona cigars. 20 years later, I launched Mancipio Maria cigars with that same principle in mind. Make a great handmade cigar, and that's exactly what we do in 4 sizes. I invite you to try a 4-pack sampler of my Mancipio Maria cigars and taste them for yourself in smooth, natural, or bold Maduro wrappers. And to sweeten the deal, I've discounted them 25% for a limited time. And as always, we include a personal humidifier with every order. To order, go to shop.mikechurch.com. Order $50 or more, and shipping is on me. Try my Mancipio Maria cigars today at shop.mikechurch.com.
In a world more and more infiltrated with fake news, AI-generated slop, isn't it great knowing that Crusade Channel News is still researched, written, and performed by actual humans? Hey, what are you doing in here? Oh no. Get your hands off of me. You chipped my chip.
Boys, break it up! Jeez. Catch Crusade Channel News, weekday mornings on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio, the way it should be.
No AI was harmed in the making of this radio content. We hope to next time.
If women living near rivers and taking a pill turns the frickin' frogs gay, imagine what happens to men on the same river who don't listen to Mike Church.
It's American Talk Radio, made by Americans for American listeners. No AI was used in the making of this radio broadcast. 34 years young here, the Mike Church Show is on America's Morning Show. A crusade for the truth. Awash in a sea of angry, ugly, despondent cat ladies. By the way, that reminds me. Who is this crank? This single, angry, ugly cat lady, Jennifer Welch. Who is that crank? Maggie, I'm not asking you the question. I'm asking it. It's a rhetorical. It's the royal we.
Isn't she part of that podcast that we talked about the other day?
She is part of that podcast. No, she's not the one Pepper Mizaki went on. No. That's
Yeah.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. Right?
What is to be gained? And I understand that this is a catfight moment. What is to be gained by savaging Riley Gaines, everyone's all-American chick?
That's her.
Okay. Riley Gaines is a 12-time All-American swimmer. Riley Gaines at one time held the NCAA record in the 100-meter freestyle and the 200-meter butterfly.
Riley Gaines has won more swimming meets than AOC has slid down stripper poles. So why all of a sudden, and she's beautiful, and she's a wife and she's a mom now. Why all of a sudden now has Riley Gaines become the whipping girl for the angry, ugly, single cat lady leftards? Well, I had to say that some of it has to be pure, straight up jealousy. The rest of it is just pure, straight up hatred. I just, for the life of me, when you was a little children, your mother used to tell you, now, Michael, be nice. You get more with sugar than you will with vinegar. Am I the only one whose mother told them that? Well, apparently Jennifer Welch and AOC and these cranks have never heard that. They are incapable of what the French say. They are capable of l'être génial. Of existing and being to be nice. They're incapable of it. They don't have it in their DNA. Now, I think they were born with it. I just think they purged it. But this woman just went on an F-bomb laced, tantrum. Why are people? We have a sickness in this country. People that would follow that are sick. You need help, professional help. And you're not going to get it by hanging out on social media. And it just, all these guys who are reposting Jennifer Welch, I'm like, dude, do not dignify that witch by republishing it. That's what she wants. They want you to do that. Don't do it. I didn't. Not that I matter, because I've been unplatformed or deplatformed by Nick Fuentes. So there's that. This portion of the program brought to you by the 10th Anniversary Crusade Channel T-shirt and Red Cab work shirt. You need to order yours today. I know everyone wants one. Get one for every member of the family. I'll sign them all for you. Go to shop.mikechurch.com. That's shop.mikechurch.com. I think you'd probably have to search for it, but if you search for 10th Anniversary, you'll be able to find it. Or get the link in the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. Or you can go into the check your email this morning for today's church doctrine, and you can find it there. That's the church doctrine at shop.mikechurch.com. But the email newsletter has the link to both. Let us go to the Dude Maker hotline here and say hello to Daniel DiMartino. Now, Daniel, you're going to have to help me out here. You are with the YAF. I believe you're on the board of the Young Americas Foundation or Federation. So first of all, welcome in that capacity. And we're also going to talk about your Venezuelan roots and what President Maduro is trying to do to you. But we're happy to have you. How are you?
Thank you. Very good. Good morning.
So Young Americas, the YAF. Tell me a little bit about that, quick.
Yeah, YF is the largest conservative college chapter group organization in the country. I essentially go and speak to college campuses. I'm actually at Liberty University right now, going to give a speech about how socialism destroyed Venezuela.
Yeah, you're talking to someone that has been in radio for 34 years. I covered that, Daniel, when you was a youngin'. I covered the rise of Hugo Chavez. I covered, what was his nickname? What did they used to call him?
El Comandante.
Yeah, that's it. I covered.
The Commander.
And Venezuela, your country, your home country of Venezuela, if you were around in the 1970s, 80s, or 90s, and you lived in Argentina or Brazil or Colombia or wherever, and you needed work, good work, where would you go? Venezuela. Venezuela.
That's right.
It was one of the most.
Well, my grandparents immigrated to Venezuela in the 50s from Spain and from Italy.
Well, see there, it was a flourishing. It is resource rich. It has oil. You name it. My joke is, Daniel, is you have to use Roundup to stop things from growing in a country like Venezuela because everything grows there. And then the socialists came along. So glad to have you with us now. Magdalene told me that President Maduro is trying to cancel you.
In a way, it's the ultimate cancellation. He wants to remove my Venezuelan citizenship by birth because I support President Trump's actions in the Caribbean.
And, I mean, is there a process for this, or is he just a socialist tin-horn dictator?
You know, they went to the fake Supreme Court that they named that is full of criminals themselves. I mean, not that this matters to me practically, right? But I think it shows that they are so desperate and upset that there are so many Venezuelans who are willing to lend their voices to support what the president is doing, that the only thing he can do is say, we're going to strip you of your citizenship.
And then when you say that you support President Trump and what he's doing, you mean in the attempt to stop the cartels and the drug trafficking, among other things?
Yes, absolutely. The bombing of the drug boats, the threats against Maduro, sending the aircraft carrier to the Caribbean, all of that.
Now, folks, if you don't know, Daniel DiMartino is a Venezuelan, and he's now, you're here legally. Are you on a visa, or are you applying for citizenship? How are you here?
Yeah, I'm on my green card process.
Okay, all right. And you're speaking to college campuses. I saw your interview on Fox News the other day, and you actually think that Trump's not, maybe that Trump's not going far enough, or that they should go the next distance by upping the campaign against Venezuela and doing land strikes on the Venezuelans?
Yeah, essentially, the only way to stop Maduro from continuing to traffic drugs, the only way to stop him from doing this perpetually would be to eliminate Maduro and his regime. And the reality is that he's not going to leave power unless he feels threatened. And right now, he's willing to wait it out as long as they keep bombing boats. So unless somebody in his regime is harmed, they are not going to just pack and leave Venezuela.
So one of the things, Trump was asked this the other day, like last week in the Oval Office. He was asked, why are you bombing? Why don't you just arrest these people? Why don't you just detain them? Law of the Sea Treaty, this and that and the other. And I thought that Trump gave the best answer. We actually played it here on the show. When Trump said, they tried that for 30 years. It didn't work. It doesn't work. The only thing they understand is to take them out. We just have to take them out. And sooner or later, they'll stop. Sooner or later, they'll run out of people, or they'll just stop. I think that the campaign of taking those boats out while they are en route to the United States, if I was one of those drug runners, if tomorrow was my day to drive the boat, I'd be going like, oh, no can go me good. Oh, no. I think I would come down with a cold.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The issue, though, is that they're also traffic drugs through land, right? They go through Colombia and then through the Panama Isthmus and then all the way north to Mexico. That's another way in which they get drugs to the U.S. And that's not the only activity Venezuela does, right? How did the president of Colombia get to power, Gustavo Petro, who got elected? His campaign was financed by Maduro. His own Solicitor General opened an investigation on him for this. This is why Petro is supporting Maduro in this fight. How did so many other socialist leaders in Latin America get to power? It's Venezuela using the oil money and the drug money to destabilize the rest of the region. So it is a big problem for the United States.
No, it's a huge problem for the United States. We're speaking with Daniel DiMartino, who is a recent. Now, how long have you been here on your visa, Daniel?
Well, I came initially as a student 9 years ago, and now I'm on a work visa.
Wow, we need you to become a citizen, man.
Well, it takes time. The legal immigration system's not easy.
Hey, Daniel, what is this legal immigration system that you speak of? I thought Biden brought that to an end.
Well, if you wanted to come illegally through the border and then just, apply for asylum and fake it or whatever, you could have done that too, actually. So, it's just a different process, but not the one I wanted.
Good answer. Okay, I want to talk about okay, so you obviously grew up in Venezuela. You're a young man. You're born there, and now Maduro is trying to take your citizenship away because you're telling the truth about the narco-terrorist and about the fact that Venezuela has been converted, as I said, before Chavez. Venezuela has been converted by socialists and communists from the once great, the great natural and trading resource of all of South America that it once was. And you know what? The capital of Venezuela was a tourist destination, not just for people of the United States, but for Europeans. You go vacation, it's beautiful. It was stunningly beautiful. And they had taken that and they've turned it into a place, your country now, where if you were still there, you might have to stand online to get a chicken that you'd have to take home and kill so that you could feed your family, and other sorts of atrocities. How is Maduro able to remain in power? And are the good people of Venezuela, do they just need the aid and assistance of someone, some power like the United States to get rid of this guy?
So that's a great question, and the sad truth is that it is because of these socialist policies that impoverish the country that Maduro is able to stay in power. You can remain in power much more easily if you have an oppressed, poor, and hungry population. This is why I actually don't think that the Maduro regime is ideologically Marxist. They're actually just practically Marxist. They understand that socialism makes people poor. They are not dumb, and that's why they support socialism, because they want to keep people poor so that they can continue running their drug cartel at the top without people being able to oppose them because they're too hungry to do so. And so protests, strikes, all of that is extremely difficult for normal Venezuelans. And yes, that's why the only way is for external help. Venezuelans voted against Maduro. There was yet another rigged election last year. Mm-hmm. Maduro, despite paying people to vote for him, despite using the military, he only got 30% of the vote against 70% of the opposition candidate. The true share, if he had allowed us to vote abroad and hadn't expelled 1/3 of us from the country, the true share, if he hadn't paid people to vote for him, maybe 90% of the country would be opposed to him. So this is a regime that was not able to indoctrinate the population despite 26 years in power. It's a population that wants economic freedom again, that wants democracy again, and that wants to be an American ally again, not an ally of China, Russia, and Iran.
Yeah, that's not in the region. And obviously, President Trump, whenever he talks about this, talks about how China's down there in Venezuela. They're making deals with the Venezuelans and with Maduro, and it's bad. It's really bad. And it's something that, we're looking very hard at this. Let me hit you with another fact, Daniel. Daniel DiMartino on the Dude Maker hotline here with us. I know this because I love your country and I love your people, and I know Venezuelans. I've worked with some Venezuelan expats, so I know a little bit about it. In the year of our Lord, 1990, of all the countries of South America, the Catholic baptized population of Venezuela was 93%. 93%. So Venezuela was a country that was very Christian, very Catholic. This is before Chavez and before the socialist revolution. Is the faith still alive there? Are you allowed to go to Mass? Are you allowed to practice? What can you tell me?
So you are allowed, but I will say since Chavez came to power, we also saw a concerning trend in Santeria and Islam that we didn't see before in Venezuela. For the listeners who don't know, Santeria, it's this witchcraft religion that mocks Christianity, in which they dress in all white and sacrifice animals. It's very common from the Caribbean. You didn't see any of that in Venezuela until Chavez came to power. And now you see also women in burqas in the Margarita Island that are actually brought by the Iranian government through a cooperation agreement with Maduro. They're working for Iranian, Venezuelan government projects, things that you didn't used to see before.
And this is then obviously, if you're importing, if you have Santeria, this is what they're doing to the Mexicans as well. And the cartels are driving this. You have more public mention now of Santa Muerta in Mexico than you do Our Lady of Guadalupe or any other saint. So they know that the Christian heritage of the people has to be driven out, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Cuba did the same. The difference is that it's the 21st century rather than, the 1950s when Cuba, the Cuban regime was much more atheist, let's say. Chavez actually tried to co-opt a religion. I don't know if you ever saw while you were covering Chavez that he sold and made rosaries with his face and in the color red. Imagine what a blasphemy, right?
No, he did. He also, Chavez, in his early days, he'd run around with a rope chain around his neck with a crucifix with a corpus on it. Like he was outwardly trying to say he was Catholic. He invited Pope John Paul II to Venezuela. I want to say that Pope John Paul II went to Venezuela and met with Chavez.
During Chavez. It was right before.
Okay, all right. So we know that there was Catholicism there, and we know that there were people practicing the faith. We know they had Protestant, and also, to their credit, there were Protestant missionaries that were going to Venezuela, and certainly after Chavez came in, that number increased. It's just to hear that now. Are there Iranians that are like in Venezuela now, or is it just Iranian cash and influence?
No, there are Iranians in Venezuela, not military, but certainly government set by the Iranian regime. And that is because Iran is very interested in the oil and uranium that Venezuela produces and has. That's why when the left says, you just want to attack Venezuela because of its oil. No, Venezuela destroyed its oil industry, and the little oil it produces is now in cooperation with the Chinese, the Russians, and the Iranians, and we don't want that.
Well, I can tell you that most Americans don't know this. Venezuela has had to start its own oil exporting company. You know it today as Chevron. Chevron was nationalized by Chavez, which actually tanked the Venezuelan oil trade. Didn't do any good, and American companies now won't invest. American oil companies won't invest any funds or any research and development dollars to explore for or get any oil out of Venezuela. So it's been a disaster.
Absolutely. Well, the sad thing is that Chevron clearly didn't learn the lesson, and now the Chevron Corporation went back to Venezuela, asked for sanctions and exemptions to the Trump administration, and is actually cooperating with Maduro. It's a very, very sad story that I think is going to backfire on them tremendously.
Well, I can't imagine the Trump administration, and this is being led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. I can't imagine that they don't know that, and they wouldn't try to do something about it. Daniel, we're out of time. Where can people follow you and learn more about what you and I have been talking about?
Absolutely, yes. Just my X account at Daniel DiMartino, DIMAR, and then also just the Manhattan Institute website. I'm a fellow at the Manhattan Institute, the conservative think tank, and so people can follow a lot of my publications there. Several of my favorite columnists work for the Manhattan Institute. Congratulations on that. Heather McDonald. Is that? Oh, yeah. I love Heather. She's so great.
Well, she's a phenomenal writer. You tell Heather McDonald I said that.
I will.
All right. Daniel, we'll have you back. Great to meet you, my friend. Adios, mi amigos.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise.
All right. That's Daniel DiMartino there, a up-and-coming young man who is making some strides there. I saw the interview on Fox News. I went, oh, this is interesting. And then Magdalene said, we could get him on. And I went, oh, well, let's do it. So there you go. It's a tragic story what's happened in Venezuela to the Catholic population, by the way. It's a great story that needs to be told. Sad story that needs to be told. We're just getting started, folks. Don't go away.
For 9 years now, Brother Andre Marie's Reconquest has been your source for best in Catholic philosophy, history, and saints.
Well, I'm the new gal at this monastery, and Jiminy Christmas, after 4 years of auto pens, social media heresy, I could use some Catholic philosophy.
Well, call yourself a blessed girl, because new episodes debut Wednesdays at 8 Central, and there's over 475 podcasts available on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and educational radio.
The way it should be.
The Crusade Channel and the slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Mary Joseph with your Saint of the Day. Today is October 28th, the feast of Saints Simon and Jude, who died in 67. They were apostles of our Lord and were brothers. We are let know what eager and ardent apostles of the faith Saint Simon and Jude were. First, by the distance they traveled to preach the gospel, they went eventually as far as Persia, and also by the names given to them. Saint Simon is called the Zealot, both to distinguish him from Simon Peter and to show his ardor in preaching the true faith. Saint Jude is called Thaddeus, which means big-hearted. Saint Simon was martyred by being crucified. Saint Jude was martyred by being clubbed to death. Both were killed in the same year, and their relics were brought back and placed near those of St. Peter and St. Paul in the Vatican in Rome. St. Jude is the author of one of the epistles in the New Testament. Quote, "Keep yourselves in the love of God, waiting for the mercy of our Lord Jesus Christ unto life everlasting." End quote. St. Jude writes in his holy epistle. We also know from tradition that St. Jude had a strong resemblance to our Lord, whose cousin he was. And from Dom Guéranger, "I have chosen you and have appointed you that you should go and should bring forth fruit, and your fruit should remain." These words were addressed by the man God to you, O Simon and Jude, as to all the 12, as the Church reminded us in her night office. And yet what remains now of the fruit of your labors in Egypt, in Mesopotamia, in Persia? Can our Lord and his Church be mistaken in their words or in their appreciations? Certainly not. Saint Simon and Saint Jude, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the lives of today's saints. Tomorrow is the Feast of St. Narcissus. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters in the building of our convent by visiting stphilomena.convent.org. I'm Sister Mary Joseph, and until next time, may God bless and Mary keep you.
Do you hear that, Maggie?
Do I hear what?
You don't hear the sound of bees buzzing about?
No, I see the result of that buzzing about and these beautiful new beeswax candles.
We sell candles now?
Not just any candles. These are handmade beeswax candles.
Well, that explains me imagining bees.
And they come in different sizes. There's a votive, a 3-day, and a 7-day size too.
Well, that should start a buzz in the store.
It better, or you'll get the buzz.
Order handmade beeswax candles today while supplies last at shop.mikechurch.com.
Okay, please enter the 9-digit 2-step authorization code we just emailed you. Jeez.
What do you mean, prove I'm human?
Okay, that's a car. That's a car. That's a car.
Those are not cars. Please try again. Oh my gosh. I'll show you. Try again, stupid piece of AI mother. Here, try this.
Jim, what are you doing? Good grief, man. This isn't Office Space the movie. What are you trying to do?
I just wanted to send the KingDude a donation through the stupid computer.
Like Trump, the KingDude makes everything better, including donating, which you can now do by mail.
Mail? They still have that?
Of course they do, and the KingDude's keeping the ponies running on time and in business. Just snail mail your donation to P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana, 70447.
Ha! And you can't. You're such a boomer. Me this time. And wait a minute. I know they're around here somewhere. There! Ha-ha!
Dude, those are airmail stamps from the movie Airplane. Surely you have...
Of course I do. And don't call me Shirley. The Crusade Radio Guild is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, so your donations are tax deductible. Donate today, the Crusade Radio Guild, P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana 70447.
The Mike Church Show, serving the hard liquor of truth to men who want to get drunk fast. since 1992.
Mark, ow! Anniversary of the Crusade Channel. A great celebration or a great lamentation, depending on whose side you're on. We lead the world in being deplatformed with number one more than Alphonse Capone. True story, ladies and gentlemen. The 10th anniversary of the Crusade Channel is coming up on Tuesday, November 11th. You're all invited. Let us break all the records. 150 people, crashes the chat room. 1,000 concurrent listeners, crashes the stream. Let's crash it all. To get you in the mood and get you ready and get you psyched up and to make you proud, and I know you are all proud of this major accomplishment that no one recognizes or acknowledges, 10 years as an independent radio and television media outlet. Get your 10th anniversary uber cool, designed and drawn by hand by yours truly, 10th anniversary Crusade Channel t-shirt. It's got the left chest imprint on the front, the big print on the back. It's really cool. And it has, if you look closely at the text that's going around the Crusade Channel and the big X in the center, it says, it has the name and the title of every show that has been on in the 10 years. Well, every show that I could remember, and I should know them all. They're all there somewhere in those two circles there with the beginning date and the end date. I'm happy to autograph them for you, one for every member of the family. But if you want the button down, these are my favorites, and I'm going to wear them all around here. And I wear my red cap Mike Church Show shirt and my red cap Crusade Channel shirt all the time. You'll love yours too. The two pockets come in really handy. So it's a really cool work shirt that you can wear around to other events. If you don't wear a t-shirt, get the red cap version. But I need you to order them today. Shop.mikechurch.com. Shop.mikechurch.com. The stupid artist was late in getting the design done. This is the reason we have to rush the whole thing, so we can have them for Tuesday, November the 11th. Who is that guy that did that design? This is all his fault. If he'd have done it last month like he was asked to do it. In any event, shop.mikechurch.com. The links are in your email, the Church Doctrine Daily email that went out. You can use the links in the email to easily get there and reserve yours today. I want to make sure that everyone that wants one, plus an extra one, because when this batch is gone, they're gone. So get yours today and get the red cap. Order it, pre-order, do us a favor, and order them today. Shop.mikechurch.com. Don't forget the books and the coffee and all that, and the cigars, and then the rubs and the seasonings while you're there as well. I want to thank Daniel DiMartino for appearing on the program and not deplatforming us, as we talked about in the beginning of the program. I asked the question, Maggie could show you this. I asked the question because I was talking about reading Rod Dreher's piece about Nick Fuentes and the Tucker interview, which people are still talking about the rise, what does Dreher call it? He calls it, welcome to Weimar America slouches toward birth. And he's asking the question of why Tucker interviewed Nick Fuentes. Well, I told you people a couple of weeks ago that someone from Fuentes' camp, I now think they may have been an imposter or an interloper, contacted Magdalene and said, Nick wants to do an interview with the King Dude. He likes his style. You ought to. You ought to. And we did what we said, okay, sure, I'll do the interview. I've already been deplatformed by everyone. There's no one left to deplatform me. And that's the last we heard of it. Until this morning when we were talking about this, and Maggie went to go tag Fuentes in today's show, only to find out he's blocked us on X. Magdalene thinks that somebody that was with Bannon, that is working for Fuentes, did that. You know, that's the problem with these entities when they get so big that you don't even run your own account. Nobody's going to do that on my account. Trader Jill Lee has 135,000 followers. She runs her own account. What is his business that you can't run you're so high and mighty and so important that you can't run your own X? And someone else has permission to do it, and they have the admin privilege, and they can block people like us? What? So in any event, we have Fuentes, and we'll play the soundbite, whining about, well, I don't know why Shapiro is buying up all the Catholics. Because he has the money to do so. This is control. And when I talk about this, I'm going to tell you what it's like to work under a non-compete clause, which I'm assuring you that Walsh and Knowles have. Now, can Shapiro let them go on Fox News and other outlets to pimp his network? Absolutely. They let me too. Can you do your own thing and release your own work and own your own intellectual property? No. This is a control mechanism here. You know, and while him and Andrew Clavin are sitting around joking and mocking the Catholic faith with Matt Fradd and Matt Walsh in the room, what's going on here? This is what drives Fuentes to go on X and whine about that that we need to I'll start our own Catholic network, media network. And I'll hire Michael, I'll match the funds, whatever. And he cracks a joke about he doesn't have Jew money. They're already, the word is we need a media network that's owned by Catholics. Well, I know where one is. I know where one is. It's called the Crusade Channel. It's owned by a Catholic and his wife, who is a Catholic. We've even had, get this, Catholic people who have had shows for 10 years. Brother Andre Marie. I mentioned Matt Gasper's. Matt Gasper's first guest appearance on Mike Church Show was in 2017. So that's 8 years that Matt has been coming on. I could throw out that Eric Sammons has been a guest on this show. Kennedy Hall, last I checked, was a Catholic. He worked around here. Mike Parrott, last I checked, is a Catholic, still hosts a show, still calls in as a guest. So the idea here that there's no Catholics out there that own media property. Are you that stupid? Are you that ill-informed or researched on the media landscape? How can people not know? You'd have to willfully try and avoid me and her and all the rest of us here, which apparently they do. And we've had enough of it. So, all right, I'll tell you about the plan later. I'll play you Fuentes' soundbite. But in the meantime, let's talk about, here's another guy who is famous in international politics now, J.D. Vance, who converted to the faith. And we'll play a couple of sound bites from his appearance at Ole Miss last night. Play Digital Media File number 1. Here is J.D. at a TPUSA event in Oxford, Mississippi. It's at Ole Miss. It's number 1. First one on your
list on your sheet.
I got this whole speech written, and I'm not going to deliver any of what I had written. I'm just going to speak from the heart, because that's what Charlie would so often do. And when I think about what we lost 6 weeks ago, it feels like forever ago when I was in a meeting in the West Wing, and one of my staff members came in and said that Charlie had been shot. And then I looked at my phone and I saw all the text messages and realized that my dear friend had been very seriously injured. Now, in the West Wing at that time, we actually thought that Charlie had a chance. We didn't know that he was eventually going to pass away. There were initial reports from the medical team that maybe things were going okay. And of course, eventually Charlie took his last breath and went home to be with his Lord and Savior. I remember thinking at that moment, first, of course, about Erica and the children. They've got their oldest, their daughter, is very similar in age to our youngest child. And I remember thinking, what a terrible tragedy for that family. And the second thing that I thought was, what a terrible tragedy for the United States of America. Because Charlie wasn't just a political figure. He wasn't just a guy who went around campus and said very interesting things and hosted all of these debates. He was a person who, particularly to the young people of this country, to all of you, he had the very best advice. And I think that's the most important way for me to honor Charlie, which is to repeat that advice, something I found true in my own life. Charlie wanted all of you, whatever life path you chose, whatever career you chose, whatever you ultimately did for a living, Charlie wanted you more than anything to invest in the things that were worth having, to build a life that was worth building. And that started, the most important advice he ever gave you was fall in love, get married, and start a family. And I can't honor Charlie without repeating that most important advice.
It's good stuff. It's exactly what he should say. Now, wait a minute. I want to drill down a little further because JD said something that leads me to believe that this issue, this item, is actually a response to a question, but that this point of inquiry, if you will, has come up at the White House, and he has thought about it. Play the next one. Play number 2, please. There's an extra question about, well, why don't you tell me about separation of church and state there, bucko?
I want to just make sure that everybody's kind of on the same page here. So if you go back to the First Amendment, it doesn't say separation of church and state. It says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. But if you go back to the founding time, there were actually a number of states that had formally recognized churches. So there was the Anglican Church of Virginia. That was the official state church of Virginia.
Yep.
Maryland at the time was the only majority Catholic colony, or at least had a significant Catholic representation of the original 13 colonies. There's a lot there.
Connecticut.
And yes, I do think
Baptist.
that what happened is the Supreme Court interpreted Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion to effectively throw the church out of every public space at the federal, state, and local level. I think it was a terrible mistake, and we're still paying for the consequences of it today. But if, and I think this is your point, if you were to undo that, if you were to get back to a system actually meant by the founders where Congress is not setting up an established religion, but people in their local communities can kind of do whatever it is that they want to do, I think that would be a better system than what we have today. But I think the most important principle that we have got to remember is you do not have to completely kick God out of the public square, which is what we've done in modern America. It's not what the founders wanted. It's not good for the United States of America. And anybody who tells you it's required by the Constitution is lying to you.
No, the Supreme Court can absolutely undo this. There's a couple of cases that it could revisit if it wanted to. It could revisit the Loving case. It could revisit, I forget the prayer in school case is one that ought to be revisited, and that decision ought to be nuked. I should say that was reached incorrectly. The 14th Amendment does not say that. The First Amendment doesn't either. They reached an erroneous decision, and we are hereby vacating that and restoring what was previously. Because all you would be doing is restoring what was practiced previously in the United States prior to the Loving case, or prior to the prayer in government-run schools case.
That's what he's talking about. But he's right about that. The Constitution says Congress shall make no law, and the reason it says that is because there were states that had state religions. As I said, Connecticut had Baptist. He's wrong about Maryland. Maryland never went Catholic. As a matter of fact, Maryland, the Protestants in Maryland made it so Charles Carroll of Carrollton in 1774 actually could not join the Maryland Assembly because he was Catholic. So they had ruled that they didn't want any papists in the Maryland Assembly. And then they wrote a law. And they couldn't have Charles Carroll of Carrollton. Of course, when they found out that Charles Carroll of Carrollton was the smartest man that they had amongst them, they repealed the law and they immediately elected him. And then he represented Maryland in the Second Continental Congress. And you can still see his signature today. He signed the Declaration of Independence. True story. The state of Virginia did have the Anglican Church. State of Massachusetts basically had some form of the Anglican. It was more puritanical or puritanical. But he's right about that. So this is why the states went, we're not going to ratify this Constitution then because you might come in and tell us we have to disband our state churches. There was a tithe. You had to pay a tithe in Virginia. It was a tax, basically. That's why the First Amendment's in there. All right, the most important Vance clip to me, and there are a lot of them. You didn't get the one where he was asked about Usha.
I told you I didn't have that one.
Oh, it's on my Twitter. You can get it from my Twitter. We'll play the other ones that you have here, too, as well. I want to play you this clip here, because I'm one of the people in the Mike Church Show official Signal Chat group. Mike Church Show, Signal Chat. We have it. You're not a member? You should be. Crusader Stadium chat room. There should be 150 people in there. You should join us. crusadechannel.com/chat. I keep seeing this obscene bashing of JD because Usha is not a Catholic. And therefore, he's a Khazarian, and he's not to be trusted, and he's from another planet, and he's coming to kill all of us, and he's a heretic, and all the other things that some of you people say about JD. You obviously don't know the story of Gilbert Keith Chesterton and Sir Alec Guinness, and tens of thousands, if not millions of others. Gilbert Keith Chesterton, G.K. Chesterton, converted to the one true, holy, Catholic, and apostolic faith after wrestling with it for 20 years. He finally converted. He converted at a little monastery north of England, and he said it was the greatest day of his life. He wrote about it, and he went back home. And guess what he went home to, all of you J.D. Vance haters, because his wife Usha is Hindu. He went back home to his wife Fran, or Frances, and he went back home to Frances, who was not practicing any faith, but was born into the Anglican religion, and told Gilbert, I will never join you and be a papist. Would you have stopped reading Chesterton then? Are you not going to read him now? Because he was married to someone who was not a Catholic? Some of you people don't live in the real world. Things don't work out the way you think that they should. I'll wager you that Gilbert Keith never stopped praying for Francis to enter the church, and guess what happened? Guess what happened? Francis was ultimately received into the church, and they lived the rest of their lives together as husband and wife. They had their marriage blessed as Catholics. But you don't know that story because you'd rather tell the story that makes people hate JD or makes people question JD. There are a lot of reasons to question JD. That's not one of them. That's his life. Of course, yours is perfect, and you can run around and say things like that. I think it's hurtful and shameful. Let's talk about Sir Alec Guinness. Exact same story. Almost down to the details of the wife who told him, I will never become a papist. She stopped talking to him. Sir Alec Guinness, now a Catholic, who was confirmed at a monastery, again, near the same one that Gilbert was, Never stopped praying for his beloved wife. He was in Thailand shooting the bridge on the River Kwai. On Christmas Eve, this is in his autobiography, by the way. Don't take my word for it. You're just making it up. Yeah, sure I am. On Christmas Eve, someone came in and said, hey, there's a lady here. She just arrived by boat. She's here to see you. Sir Alec Guinness is like, what? So he goes to the dock to find out that it is his wife. And he's like, oh, dear. And they embrace and everything, and they get to talking. And then he says, I didn't know you were coming. Why are you here? She goes, it's my Christmas gift to you. Is there a priest here? And he said, of course there's a priest here. He goes, I want to be received. I want to be baptized and received into the Catholic Church. And right there in Thailand, on the set of the bridge over the River Kwai, Mrs. Guinness was received into the Catholic Church. So for the years between when Sir Alec converted and then she came into the church, you wouldn't have been his friend. You would have been accusing him of being a heretic and an awful Catholic and a rotten human being and working for the Khazarians and the Red Sea pedestrians and everything else. And he just would have been dirt to you because his wife didn't come in the day that he did. He should have put his foot down. Maybe he did. Maybe she said no. Play the clip, Maggie, please. Thank you. Sorry.
And yes, my wife did not grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family, but not a particularly religious family in either direction. In fact, when I met my wife, we were both, I would consider myself an agnostic or an atheist, and that's what I think she would have considered herself as well. You know, everybody has to come to their own arrangement here. The way that we've come to our arrangement is she's my best friend. We talk to each other about this stuff. So we decided to raise our kids Christian. Our two oldest kids who go to school, they go to a Christian school. Our 8-year-old did his first communion about a year ago. That's the way that we have come to our arrangement. But thank you.
Does Sheldon Adelson know your kid got
also very proud
communion?
Of his first communion? Thank you, guys. I'll tell him that Ole Miss wishes him the best. But I think everybody has to have this own conversation when you're in a marriage. I mean, it's true for friends of mine who are in Protestant and Catholic marriages, friends of mine who are in, atheist and Christian marriages. You just got to talk to the only advice I can give is you just got to talk to the person that God has put you with, and you've got to make those decisions as a family unit. For us, it works out. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved?
We'll continue after the timeout.
WE and the UFC for live talk radio Thursday Night Throwdown, hosted by you. Win a seat at the table, win the throwdown, and then you pick next week's topic.
Now that's real live talk radio exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Radio, the way it should be.
Everybody loves a good trilogy. The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and now the KingDude Seasoning Trilogy. There's Beast and Butt Rub, Acadiana Steak, and the brand new Chicken Mamu Seasoning, a lemon herb-based rub that's won trophies in barbecue chicken cook-offs. Now, we've bundled all 3 spices together, and you can get them for one low price for less than it costs to rent a movie trilogy. And the KingDude offers you his personal money-back guaranteed of your taste buds' complete satisfaction. Order a KingDude Seasoning Trilogy today at shop.mychurch.com.
Have you ever dreamed of being like Brian Kay or Mitter Monday and being a free Farm Friday star? But you have no shot at it because you can't tell the difference between a U and a Y-O-U. Well, lucky for you, we have an entire bookstore filled with the books you need to become so passionate for farming, you'll soon be wearing a Brian Kay Calls Me for Advice t-shirt. So learn to grow by growing your library with books by shopping at shop.mikechurch.com.
You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property, broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via crusadechannel.com. Crusade Channel News. News you can trust.
Because let's face it, the truth just sounds different, like a symphony of facts.
And now, from the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Hello, Crusaders. Welcome to Thursday, October 30th, 2025. I'm Janet Huxley, reporting for the Crusade Channel News Desk, live from the Dothan Farm and Ranch, south of Kansas City, Missouri. Today's newscast brought to you by Capuchin Holy Roast Coffee, a blend personally crafted by Mike Church, made from South American and Africa's finest gourmet coffee beans, and roasted to perfection. Available in whole bean or ground. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. Here's what to listen for this hour. Trump orders Pentagon to immediately restart nuclear weapons testing to compete with Russia and China. Trump wraps up an Asia tour. Massive crowds line up in the rain at Ole Miss for Turning Point USA event with Vance and Erica Kirk. And GM's plans for self-driving vehicles. President Trump has ordered the military to immediately begin testing nuclear weapons in response to the growing arsenal Russia and China are amassing, he announced yesterday. Because of other countries' testing programs, I've instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis, Trump wrote on Truth Social. That process will begin immediately, the president said. The U.S. has not tested a nuclear explosive since 1992, observing a voluntary moratorium on the practice. The president is in Gwangju, South Korea, capping off his busy Asia tour with a high-stakes meeting with CCP leader Xi Jinping this morning. The two leaders sat down at 11 a.m. local time for a meeting before Trump was scheduled to depart for Washington. Trump also met with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung on August 29th to discuss investments in security, but no trade deal was signed. Hundreds of University of Mississippi or Ole Miss students stood in the rain yesterday afternoon, lining sidewalks with umbrellas and handmade signs, hours before Vice President J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk arrived for a Turning Point USA campus event honoring the late conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The crowd was forming early in the morning outside the pavilion and stretched across campus as students wore MAGA hats and freedom shirts in tribute to the slain founder. The Ole Miss stop marks Erica Kirk's first and only appearance on Turning Point USA's National College Tour. She had many things to say that inspired the crowd, one of which was, "You can't change a nation if you're enslaved to fear." Our quote of the day: it is simply impossible to lead, without the aid of prayer, a virtuous life. St. John Chrysostom. And coming up, our saint of the day, the patron saint of Majorca. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Capuchin Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com. Now, in our 9th year, Crusade Channel News is simply the best daily newscast on all of radio.
News that informs and inspires and doesn't destroy any critical thinking brain cells.
Catch it at 6, 8, and 3 p.m. on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and news radio.
The way it should be.
Our saint today is Saint Alphonsus Rodriguez. He was born in Spain in 1533 and inherited the family textile business at the age of 23. Within the space of 3 years, his wife, daughter, and mother died, and the business was poor. So he stepped back and reassessed his life and sold the business, and with his young son, moved into his sister's home, and he learned the discipline of prayer and meditation. At the death of his son years later, Alphonsus, almost 40 by then, sought to join the Jesuits. He was not helped by his poor education and applied twice before being admitted. For 45 years, he served as doorkeeper in the Jesuits' college in Majorca. When not at his post, he was almost always at prayer, though he often encountered difficulties and temptations. His holiness and prayerfulness attracted many to him, including St. Peter Claver, then a Jesuit seminarian. His life as a doorkeeper may have been humdrum, but centuries later, he caught the attention of poet and fellow Jesuit Gerard Manley Hopkins, who made him the subject of one of his poems. Alphonsus died in 1617. He is the patron saint of Majorca. General Motors is setting itself up to take a leading role in the AI evolution with a suite of upgrades from anticipating a driver's needs to driving for them. The automaker, which sells vehicles under the Chevrolet, Cadillac, GMC, and Buick brands, plans to equip its vehicles with conversational AI powered by Google Gemini next year, ahead of GM's launch of its own custom-built AI. With the conversational AI, drivers will be able to draft and send messages and plan routes with context, such as finding a charging stop near a favorite coffee shop or even a prep for a meeting on the go, the automaker said. Starting in 2026, enhancements will be rolled out through a software update to OnStar-equipped vehicles, starting with the model year 2015. The broader plan, they said, is that cars don't just move you, but anticipate and then adapt to your needs and improve over time. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Silk Feather. Ma'am, what would you like to drink?
Oh, I'll take the Dom. The Dom Perignon, of course.
Ah, the lady has taste. And you, sir? I'll just take the Diet Coke. Oh, dear. You know, what I miss about the good old days before social media and AI ruined everything?
Let me guess. No fat people outside of the circus, and Ozempic was the name of a demon in C.S. Lewis story, right?
Well, yeah, but besides that, classic radio shows with actors and actual stories.
Well, lucky for the human race, the Crusade Channel is rolling over 900 episodes of a show called Suspense.
Tweak your mystery-solving muscles over lunch and catch episodes of Suspense, weekdays noon till 2 on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and classic radio the way it should be.
I like my version of suspense. Hey!
Doesn't work without me!
Citizens, soldiers, I'm here at the order of General Robert E. Lee, commanding all Virginia forces. On April 15th of this year of our Lord, 1861, Simon Cameron, the Secretary of War of the United States, sent a telegram to our governor, John Letcher, directing him to raise 3 regiments of infantry to be sent to assist in suppressing the Southern Confederacy. Governor Letcher's answer is well known to you, but perhaps not his words. His wire to Washington stated, "You have chosen to inaugurate civil war. And having done so, we will meet you in a spirit as determined as the Lincoln administration has exhibited toward the South." 2 days later, the Virginia legislature voted for secession. Just as we would not send any of our soldiers to march in other states and tyrannize other people, so will we never allow the armies of others to march into our state and tyrannize our people. Like many of you, indeed most of you, I've always been a Union man. It is not with joy or with a light heart that many of us have welcomed secession. Had our neighbors to the north practiced a less bellicose form of persuasion, perhaps this day might not have come, but that day has been thrust upon us like it was thrust upon our ancestors. The Lincoln administration required us to raise 3 regiments. Tell them we have done so.
Nations go to war after radio talk show hosts like me. 34 years young, the Mike Church Show is on, proving why we stand the test of time here in yet another Mike Church Show excursion into excellence. Here on the Crusade Channel, the last live talk radio station standing out there. On our crusade for the truth, America's Morning Show is on, and welcoming all of you listening. Now look, you people that are currently listening or watching on X.com or on the YouTube,
as a free preview today. You have a duty to fix this problem of the Crusade channel languishing, not tried, and found wanting. It needs to be tried. You're trying it right now. You can try really hard or harder, may make your future, by taking 3 months of Founders Pass membership. Now, if you just happen to stumble upon this program today on YouTube, I'm talking to you specifically. You're not a Founders Pass member. You got a notification that we were on. Oh, Mike's free. I'm going to listen today. When Mike was on YouTube and I was free, you had to endure the worst assortment of left-tard-leaning commercials so that we could do what's called monetize the channel. So you hated it, you complained about it, we heard you, and then we said, well, we're going back behind the paywall, but we're taking the YouTube stream with us. So here's the little secret. You can watch this show through the YouTube HD link exactly as you used to watch it every single day for $5 a month on the Crusade Channel website. It's behind the paywall, but the exact same YouBoob feed is there. And you get something else that you don't get on YouBoob. You get our Crusader Stadium chat room for $5 a month. You're striking a blow against the Benfathers takeover of all things Catholic media, for example. So why not join us today? Go to crusadechannel.com/join. Or maybe you're like, well, I can't watch it live, but I want it after the fact. Okay, well, you're going to need the basic membership. That's $15 a month. But I'll give it to you for 3 months free. Don't cost nothing.
0.0.
The link is in the YouTube chat right now. I just put it in there 3 minutes ago. Follow that link, and you can get 3 months free. And if you forget that link, you can't remember it, send me an email. I am KingDude at protonmail.com, or leave a message in the chat room down there going, hey, man, I forgot the link, where it's actually in the description for today's show. Please join us. You know, it'd be a great day for me to come in here one day and go, hey, look, I got 5 new names to welcome to the Crusade Channel family. Because lately, every day, it's
0.0.
So we're happy that you're listening or watching the sample. You should join us. Stop complaining about there's no media that's Catholic media or Christian media. Yes, there is. Been here for 10 years. Coming up on 10 years now. Been here all that time. You didn't support. You didn't join, but you can now. Do it today. crusadechannel.com/join, or grab the link from the X feed or from the YouTube chat. You were playing the end of that J.D. Vance clip. Did you stop it where you were playing?
Somewhere near.
Okay, well, you can get near there. I want people to hear the end of he was talking about his wife, Usha, and the fact that she's not a Christian. And I hear and I see people using this as an excuse to bash JD and to call him all manner of names, question his integrity, question his Catholicity. Some people say he's a fake Catholic. He just said his name only because his wife is a converted. He married a Hindu. I bet their children are being raised Hindu. Well, no, we just learned that the 8-year-old just got his first communion. Just learned that. So, and then here is the rest of JD's story about this.
I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love. Again, one of the most important Christian principles is that you respect free will. Usha's closer to the priests who baptized me than maybe I am. They talk about this stuff. My attitude is you figure this stuff out as a family, and you trust in God to have a plan, and you try to follow it as best as you can, and that's what I try to do.
I think that that's perfectly in line with many people's experience, certainly the experience of Chesterton and Guinness. There's someone in the chat room moments ago that was talking about, who was it? Remnant Crusader. He's in that position. Life isn't perfect. You know, people that think that everything falls into place exactly as you want it to, and then make great folly over it because somehow, I guess everyone is perfect except people like JD or me. And it hasn't gone far. Why? He hasn't done it. What's he supposed to do? Muslims convert by the sword. Sir, ma'am. Muslims do that. Christians do not. He can make her do it. No, he can't. No, he can't. As a matter of fact, I'm rather moved by the fact that he says, well, you know, people have free will. I got to pray. I got to pray her into the church. And I hope that's... seemed to me that's exactly what he's doing. Here's another great clip from JD at Oxford yesterday. So he has another one where he says, don't despair. Wait a minute. We're Americans. We have to despair. Yeah, we have to despair. No, you don't, brother. And number 4. And he says, no, don't despair. No, you and Charlie wouldn't want you to despair.
I know not all of you are Christians, but for the Christians out there, I think that it is very important to remember that despair is actually a sin. It's okay to disagree.
Stop
it's
that tape! Wait a minute. I can name that radio host who said that before. Oh, I can name him in 2 notes. I told you this.
Nick Fuentes.
Maggie said, Nick Fuentes said that. That's right. When I talk about cynicism and it leads to despair, you know, I have a daily prayer that I say every day. I'll share it with you, and we'll get back to JD. My daily prayer is to the Blessed Virgin Mary, and I say a Hail Mary, and I say, Mother, I'm going to ask you, please, intercede for me for the grace that I not fall into a state of discouragement or even worse, a state of despair, because despair is a sin. You can't get worked up about the things in this life. You can pray, hope, and don't worry. That doesn't mean we don't care. Doesn't mean that, you know, we're not trying to address things. It just means that JD's right. Don't despair. Here, play the rest, please.
Okay to criticize. It's okay to think that things aren't going well with a particular issue, but we are called to never give up hope. But I think one of the critical lessons of Charlie Kirk's life to his dying breath, this was a man who never lost hope in his creator and never lost hope in the United States of America. So let's remember that and carry that forward as a way to remember.
Okay, that's good for that clip. Go to the next one. I thought that... He's asked about immigration. He's asked about legal immigration. Folks, I believe that the tide...
Same chick that asked about Usha. She
Okay.
had 9 questions.
Okay. I think that... Maggie says it's the same broad that asked about Usha. Well, at least it wasn't Jennifer Welch. I think that the tide is changing. And I believe that the West Coast, to use the Bill Walsh West Coast offense analogy, I believe that President Trump is surely turning at least some parts of the ship of state about. This is the Vice President of the United States who is basically going to say that James Fishback and Mike Church are correct when it comes to H-1B visas. What's wrong? Did it not come up? Okay, all right, here we go.
Policies that hurt us, and these policies are not even solving the problems. These policies are just creating chaos.
Ma'am. Okay, so again, I'm gonna finish answering the question, and then if I've answered all 9 of your questions in less than 15 minutes, then we can keep on going. We got to have a little fun, right? So here's the thing. I can believe that the United States should lower its levels of immigration in the future, while also respecting that there are people who have come here through lawful immigration pathways that have contributed to the country. But just because one person or 10 people or 100 people came in legally and contributed to the United States of America, does that mean that we're thereby committed to let in 1 million or 10 million or 100 million people a year in the future? No, that's not right. We cannot have, I'll go and finish. We cannot have an immigration policy where what was good for the country 50 or 60 years ago binds the country inevitably for the future. There's too many people who want to come to the United States of America.
Said it.
And my job as vice president is not to look out for the interests of the whole world. It's to look out for the people of the United States.
All right, there you go. Now, this is a change in policy. This is, you can admit it or not, it's a change in policy. More and more people, including now the Vice President of the United States, the Labor Secretary, I've heard him talk about it. Trump has said things about it. He hasn't gone this far yet. Now talking about H-1B visas as a threat to American youths. And I think that young people need to be the ones. Erica Kirk said in her remarks, you guys are the generation that's going to fix this. Gen Z has to fix this. I believe that. I agree with that. Which is why we should stop calling them stupid, snotty-nosed punks, lazy, hanging around, having sex with themselves all day long, and unproductive, losers, not Christians, et cetera, et cetera. They may be all of those things, but their age group this responsibility is going to fall on them. You know why? Because we sucked at our job. We screwed it up. And they're the ones that are going to be left with it. They're either going to fix it or they're going to suffer under it. And maybe they'll be the last generation to suffer under it or to get crushed by it. Well, you know, Erica Kirk said this because this generation, do you have that one? Yeah, Message to Gen Z, number 8. You absolutely do have it. This I think is a signature moment. She had a lot of good things to say, but I love this one.
You are the courageous generation. That's what you are. All of you. Gen Z, you are the courageous generation. Hear me when I say that. My husband believed that to his core. That's why he went on campuses. That's why he was trying to reach you. You are the courageous generation. Own it. Make him proud. And students beyond Ole Miss, if you are pursuing a chapter on your campus, harness this amazing opportunity to advocate for something that you truly believe in.
Is she correct? Is she right, Mr. Helper? I think that she is. We stuck this generation with it because we failed. We can make all the excuses of they said they were going to do it, they didn't follow through. Did you hold them to account? Did you say, well, you know what, that guy didn't do it, so I'm going to step into the fray and I'm going to do it? There are a myriad of people that could be blamed for this. Blame's a great thing, and it seems to go all around. Responsibility and heroism and courage, and then the work ethic to actually take this stuff on. You know, there's one thing young people can take away from the POTUS 47. It's a work ethic. The guy always sleeps. I don't know. Does he sleep? He just finished visiting with 10 countries and the Ring of Fire. He got 10 deals with 10 countries that are going to benefit American citizens. Now, I don't know how tremendously they're going to benefit. I don't know how well. I don't know who is going to maybe lose as a result of this. I didn't analyze the whole thing. But as I said earlier, that's 10 times Trump visited countries that no previous president ever did or ever talked about. Instead, we have just a trade policy here, and that's that the United States is zero tariffs because we're libertarian. We're stupid, dumbass libertarians, and we act like it, and we have a trade policy where free trade is good for all countries in the world. This is the most boneheaded, stupid idea in the history of organized politics. Zero tariff, zero income, trade policy with the wealthiest country on earth. Only people that hated that country would do that. That's just stupid. Especially in a country that is resource rich. It'd be different if we were an island and couldn't produce things. There's almost nothing we can't produce, save for a few rare earth metals and some coffee beans. Trump let the tariff be cut to 47% for China. That's what he gave Xi. He ain't cut it back to zero. He cut it to 47%. You know what that does? That protects the new semiconductor industry here. It virtually guarantees that if you can get the resources, you can make the semiconductors in the United States. Yeah, but it's going to raise the prices here. I heard it in my church chat room. Everybody's going to have to pay. Maybe you should have been paying all along. Maybe that iPhone that you have in your pocket should always have cost $3,000 because it was built with American labor. Maybe you wouldn't be coming out with them so often. Maybe they wouldn't make them with forced obsolescence in them. They make it so like, I'm going to buy one iPhone, dude. That's going to last 10, 12 years. You know, when you used to buy a trimline phone and Maggie had on her nightstand when she was in high school? You didn't have trimline 2.0. You had a trimline phone. Did you have a trimline? It's a phone that sat down on the cradle like this. It looked like one piece when you picked it up, and then the dial pad was on. That's a trimline.
It was see-through and neon.
Oh, you had a see-through neon one. Woo-hoo-hoo! You were in high cotton. Play digital. Okay, so the big swinging thing in the room that no one wants to talk about is, well, there's several of them. Before I do that.
Wait, I have to take a picture of the phone I had.
Okay, Mike Church Show, Crusade Channel, 10-year anniversary t-shirt, which was drawn by yours truly. I am the artist. I'm happy to sign the work for you, but you need to order yours today at shop.mikechurch.com. And you can also get the red cap, kind of like a Dickies, if you know the Dickies brand name, with the 2-pocket button-down work shirt with the same design on it. Really cool. The design is really cool. It has every show that was ever been on the Crusade Channel in the last 10 years. So it's kind of a thank you to everyone that participated in it. Something for everyone to love. And it's just the distressed look. It took me days to actually get that look and to perfect it and figure out how to do it the way that I wanted it to come out. Came out really cool. I think you're going to love it. You need to order your red cap shirts today. I'd get 2 if I were you, because you're going to get one of them dirty. So you're going to want 2 10th anniversary, and you're going to need 2 T-shirts and a T-shirt for every member of the family. Get them today at shop.mikechurch.com. The link is in also, and then you can see the artwork in the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. Okay, here's the one everyone is talking about today. Let's just go ahead and get it out of the way, number 10. And then we'll pick it up. We'll talk about it more next segment here. And then we'll get into the Ben Father and Nick Fuentes and all that other stuff that we have here. This is the one that everyone, are you going to play the cat? Yes, I'm going to play it.
I lie. I reflect on that moment. And I think it was right after the memorial service, a couple of days after the memorial service, where Alex Clark released that interview with her and Andrew Colvett. And they struggle sessioned through that. They were like, no, they were both committed evangelicals, and him and Erica, and he liked the smells and the bells. He loved the architecture, but there was no more substance for him. I really struggled with that, and I struggle with it even more now that I know that Charlie Kirk, there's been a lot of questions about what about his burial? How come we haven't seen anything about his burial? We saw so much, and then we saw nothing. And the reason that's like a big hush-hush secret is because Charlie had a Catholic funeral mass, and he is buried in a Catholic cemetery. Yeah, but really, it was about the architecture. I want you to understand. Why the little lies?
Now, I didn't watch the whole interview. Does she answer the question of why the little lies?
No, that's the question she's asking.
No, she leaves it out there. Okay, well, I explained why the little lies. I can tell you exactly why. And again, I had that information on Monday, October the 6th. I was asked to not publicize it, that no one knew. Okay, Candace Owens has now blabbed it to the world. So then I said today, okay, well, I can tell you, I can confirm that because I have it from a source that's not hers. My source is completely different from hers, but my source is impeccable. If that source said it, that's what happened. That's what happened. So where does that leave then Turning Point USA? And where does that leave the people that are jockeying and trying to take it over? Like Steve Bannon.
I need something to listen to challenge my faith and tickle my not-so-nice funny bone.
Well, you won't hear anything about Mondays coming or cheeseburgers in paradise, but you will hear the most brutally honest Catholic-inspired commentary on Parrot Talk. Weekdays.
Oh, this boats, beaches, bars, and ballads fan sees what you did there.
Weekdays at 2 Central on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talking podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Thursday, October 30th, 2025. This report is brought to you by Capuchin Holy Roast Coffee, a blend personally crafted by Mike Church, made from South American and Africa's finest gourmet coffee beans and roasted to perfection. Available in whole bean or ground. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. In the market report, the Dow closed down a little, 0.16%. The S&P was flat. NASDAQ was up just a little, 0.55%. On the National Day calendar, today is National Candy Corn Day, and you probably have an opinion about that. You're surely either neutral, adore it, or passionately hate it. It is one of the most nostalgic treats that sparks surprisingly strong opinions. It was candy maker George Reniger that is credited with having invented candy corn while he was employed at the Wonderly Candy Company in Philadelphia in the 1800s. The sweet treat represented the bright colors of corn kernels, yellow, orange, and white, and it was popularized in 1898. Today is National Publicist Day and Speak Up for Service Day. And our quote of the day, "It is impossible to lead without the aid of prayer a virtuous life." St. John Chrysostom. And our saint of the day is St. Alphonsus Rodriguez. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
Okay, please enter the 9-digit 2-step authorization code we just emailed you. Jeez.
What do you mean, prove I'm human?
Okay, that's a car. That's a car. That's a car.
Those are not cars. Please try again. Oh my gosh. I'll show you. Try again, stupid piece of AI mother. Here, try this.
Jim, what are you doing? Good grief, man. This isn't Office Space the movie. What are you trying to do?
I just wanted to send the KingDude a donation through the stupid computer.
Like Trump, the KingDude makes everything better, including donating, which you can now do by mail.
Mail? They still have that?
Of course they do, and the KingDude's keeping the ponies running on time and in business. Just snail mail your donation to P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana, 70447.
Ha! And you can't. You're such a boomer. Me this time. And wait a minute. I know they're around here somewhere. There! Ha-ha!
Dude, those are airmail stamps from the movie Airplane. Surely you have...
Of course I do. And don't call me Shirley. The Crusade Radio Guild is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, so your donations are tax deductible. Donate today, the Crusade Radio Guild, P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana, 70447. On August 4th, the Crusade Channel will launch Crusade Channel 4.0, and you'll see why. What in the world? Sorry, I was hanging up the new Mike Church 4.0 sign. 4.0? When did they even have a 3.0? Am I missing something here?
Buckle up, Speed Demon, because you'll soon discover why Crusade Channel 4.0 roars like the muscle car of media. Rooming past the competition with 0 emissions of boredom exclusively on CrusadeChannel.com.
Hey, Mrs. McGillicuddy, don't be a satellite radio snob and pass by the Mike Church Show. Come on in and browse.
May I help you?
Oh, no thanks, just browsing.
How long do you intend to browse?
Well, that lady there, you didn't ask her how long she intends to browse. How come you're asking us how long we intend to browse?
You don't look like browsers.
Now that that's over,
How about a Fresca?
The Mike Church Show, entertaining browsers and fans since 1992 on the Veritas Radio Networks. Crusade.
Strange in your neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If there's something weird and it don't look good, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
There's something weird and it don't look good. Tonight, Thursday night throwdown at 6 Central, that's 7 Eastern. Songs you know by heart. So that means that if you're going to, and you are all invited to join the panel, more merrier on the panel. I think StreamYard can handle up to like 12 people on the panel. But you got to learn how to mute your microphone and all that stuff when you're not talking. In any event, if I give you the line and I say, let me think of a good one. Here's a song you know by heart. He went to Paris looking for answers to questions that bothered him so. You got to finish the line. That's a song you know by heart. So you don't bust in there with your favorite tune. You bust in there with a purpose of stumping someone or of having someone complete your line. And literally, there's no limit to, if I were to say, jambalaya, crawfish pie, ... Maggie's going like, that's too easy. That's why it's a song you know by heart. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll have a lot of great music, a lot of great camaraderie. You're all invited tonight, 6 Central. That's live here on YouTube as well. We broadcast the video version and on the Crusade channel and on Rumble and on actually broadcast it everywhere, and love to have all of you be a part of it. Join the chat room. It'll be a great live. Wait a minute, Mac. Are you quizzing me? Hold on. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Call it a landslide. No escape from You see how fun that was? That's fun. We don't have any fun here. The Khazarians are coming to kill us. Come on, lighten up, Francis. Okay. Klobuchar and Schumer are going to have to eat this one. Digital media file number 11. By today's day 31. Maggie, that's too easy. I saw a werewolf with the Chinese menu in his hand. That's too easy.
Oh, sorry. All right, which one?
Number 11.
Oh, please. Caught me off guard. I was looking up lyrics. Go.
All right.
Irrespective.
What happened?
Oh, please. I don't know.
Irrespective of the dispute on whether USDA contingency funds can be used for SNAP benefits.
It is not, wait a minute, excuse me. It is not a dispute. It is fact they can use it, and the Republicans say it.
Okay, but there's, only 5 or 6 billion, and it's not cost $8 billion monthly just to administer. I mean, if anything, it would only last.
It does not cost 5 or 6 billion to administer. There's enough money to start feeding people right away. 6 billion's a lot of money, and they're using it for other things. 20 billion for Argentina, hundreds of millions for Kristi Noem's plane. Who are we kidding here? The bottom line is they can fund it just as in 2019, just as in other shutdowns, for a long period of time.
And they also, if the contingency fund, which is $6 billion, which gets you nearly a month, 3 weeks, runs out, then they can pass Senator Lujan or Senator Hawley's bill, both of which we support. We know that there'll be 60 votes for that. Why aren't they calling it up? They're not calling it up because the House isn't here to pass it. That's the way it works. The House would have to come here. They probably would have to vote on the Epstein files, but they're choosing to let kids go hungry instead of having to vote on the Epstein files. There's no doubt about it. They have been out for 6 weeks on vacation.
Just think, if they have all this money for Argentina and all this money for other things, they have enough money to keep funding SNAP, and they know it. And I just want to say what Lujan said. Johnson just lies. He lied about on immigration, on the undocumented. He's lying about this. He just outright lies, plain and simple. It is not illegal, and his own president has done it.
These people are now in fits of desperation. After that, by the way, I think that we all agree. We'll carve a little republic out for mypillow.com/KingDude. Mike can stay in the union. Everyone else in Minnesota's got to go. You got to go. You and all your Muslim buddies and all your left-tar weirdos that you have been sending up and nominating as presidential nominees since 1968, you got to go. And look, you're far enough north, you can just join like Winnipeg or wherever. No one's going to miss Minnesota. Just let them have it. Let it have it. Just let them have it. Amy Klobuchar, Tammy Duckworth, and all of these left-art broads from the northern Midwest are the worst examples of legislators and statesmen in the history of the free world, in the history of Earth. I mean, look, Mazie Hirono Hirohito is a disgrace to the human race. Again, it's a shame that whoever Hirono's, whichever Hawaiian clan she came from or comes from, it's a shame that Jason Momoa's clan didn't kill him off when they had the chance in the 16th century. That woman is a disgrace. She is a disgrace to humanity. And I don't think these people should be running anything. I think that the democratic system is broken irreparably. I agree. I don't know that secede is going to fix it. You need to repeal the 17th Amendment. That's a good start. Send the selection senators back to the states, and then keep the government shut down for 3 years. You know, every time you can tell who this is affecting. And by the way, I saw the latest Gallup poll. Johnson and the Republicans are actually winning on the shutdown. Surprisingly, people aren't as stupid as they were a year ago, apparently.
COVID changed.
I think COVID changed a lot of people and changed a lot of people's minds.
How we view government.
And they were capable of taking all of these things that they took away from us. And I think that it's the turnabout is now fair play, and that people are going like, I don't trust you. I don't trust anything. Your mouth is moving. I don't trust you. And I don't think you should have any power or authority over me. And I think that's the way that people should think. You should exist under a power structure, under legitimate authority. This is true. We all need it, but not like this. Do you have the one? I don't see it on here. What? The one where Ted Cruz. You're going to have to get it off of my Twitter.
I think you sent it to me.
Did I send it to you? I want you to play the Ted Cruz.
It starts off with Lindsey Graham.
It starts off with Lindsey Graham. I want you to listen to me. This is... I'm not in the Justice Department, and I'm not a lawyer. But if I were, first place I'm going to look after I see this is I'm going to look at, and I think this is an illicit act of Congress, but that's not my call to make. They passed it. The Supreme Court had a chance to nuke it. It didn't. It's still on the books. I think that the Sedition Act of 1918 ought to be applied to the people responsible for this.
Because Ted may destroy evidence and tamper with witnesses. That is BS. I hope somebody will look at that.
And just one tweak. The judge didn't say I may destroy evidence. The judge signed an order that says the court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure will result in destruction of or tampering with evidence, intimidation of potential witnesses, and serious jeopardy to the investigation. And that is utterly without basis in fact. There was no evidence to support that. If the prosecutor made that representation, the prosecutor perjured himself.
Amen.
And I'd bet $20 this judge cranked out an order like that for every single senator down up here. We just happen to have mine, but it's boilerplate. If you're a Republican, you're on the enemies list, I find that you will destroy evidence. And so we're going to let the executive surveil you without Congress ever knowing about it.
This is, to me, this is an act of sedition. It is the job, it is the purpose of the United States Senate to conduct the legislative affairs of the government of the United States. To have the executive branch and then in collusion with the judiciary and the judicial branch conspire against the legislative branch. Say nothing of the conspiracy against the then citizen Trump, but to conspire against 8 elected members of the Republican Party that were United States Senator, that's a conspiracy against 4 states. That is, you might even go so far as to go like, well, were you waging war? Were you trying to deprive these states of the senators that they sent to the U.S. Senate and their power and their authority to vote on certain things? There is nothing in the Constitution and nothing in federal law that says that a member of the United States Senate cannot have an opinion that an election was not held correctly. They actually have a duty. You'd think that it would be forsworn to have a duty. I never said that Raskin and the rest of them. I said that they were that they were creeps and they were sore losers. I never said that Raskin and the other lunatics that stood up on January the 6th, 2017 and opposed the certification of the elector so Trump could become president, POTUS 45. I never said that was illegal. I never said it was illicit. I said it was in poor taste. It was stupid. It was just a bunch of grandstanding that amounted to nothing. I didn't say that they couldn't do it. They're members of the elected body. They actually have a duty to go like, I have a question. I don't think that was conducted correctly. Now, they may be completely wrong, and they may be demagogues about it, but they certainly have the right to do it as senators and representatives. What this FBI and this executive branch and this Justice Department did, to me, in my estimation, is seditious. This is the very definition of sedition. Did you conspire to try and thwart a legitimate investigation or inquiry into the 2020 presidential election? You cannot say that a member of the United States Senate can't do it. Schiff is still doing it for 2024. He did it 2 days ago. I heard him do it. Melonhead Adam Schiff. He's still talking about 2017 Schiff. He's still saying that Trump impeachment 1.0 should be revisited. Melonhead Adam Shifty Schiff actually said, well, we never got to the bottom of the Russia, and the party and the guilty party, the president. The guilty party? And that's why I wanted you to hear this. And then people, of course, well, what are they going to do about it? I don't know how you prosecute what the FBI did, but Cruz did mention perjury. And the prosecutor perjured himself. Who was the prosecutor? Jack Smith. Who was the FBI director that told the judge, you need to issue this ruling, or the prosecutor? Jack Smith. Who did he work for? He was employed by the executive branch. Who was the head of the executive branch? Biden. So who did he work for? Somebody in that auto pen White House. Someone should be pushing up daisies in a jail cell for the rest of their life. Someone's. Everyone knows it.
Nobody wants to say the quiet part out loud. Okay, so I see Magdalene's on the line. I want you to play then, Maggie, number 13. This is the Little Ben Father with Andrew Clavin and the other host of the Daily Wire. Now, conspicuously, if you watch the video of this, Matt Walsh is live in that studio watching this. It's 13. You said 13. Shapiro Clavin, host at the Daily Wire. Matt Fradd is on a video link. Now, they think that they're having a little fun and they're just being cutesy and what have you here. This is a straight up mockery of the Catholic faith and the founder of the Catholic Church, who the Little Ben Father says is the petty criminal Jesus of Nazareth. You have a former gay atheist, homo atheist, now turned homo Protestant, Andrew Clavin, yucking it up with this, and you'll hear him on this. Listen to this. This is what Pints with Aquinas, Michael Knowles, and Matt Walsh are now linked inexorably at the hip with.
Because we are bringing on the beloved host of Pints with Aquinas, Matt Fradd. Matt, welcome.
G'day, fellas. It's nice to be here. I've admired you guys from afar, and I've seen that admiration just steadily plummet as I've gotten to know you, but here we are.
Well, I mean, first of all, I have to say I've done a terrible job here with my Jew propaganda outfit, where apparently I hire and am involved in hiring only Catholics.
You have the
literally
space
only
lasers,
Catholics.
so yeah.
It's like Knowles and Walsh and Isabel and you, Matt. I don't know what's either it's an unstoppable force or I'm really bad at my job, and it could be both. I mean, it could be both of those things actually.
Clavin, you texted me and said that. You texted me and said that there are more Catholics at Daily Wire than at the Vatican, and I wasn't sure if you knew that may have been a dark joke about the Vatican or not, but it was a good one.
I actually am impressed that the Catholics are actually getting nicer. I mean, I actually like Matt, which is as opposed to these guys, and it is getting to be. It's like the Vatican except for straight people. It's so it's really it's really exciting.
There's the clip.
Now,
I object on the record.
Is that
funny? Here's a sub.
Matt Walsh didn't think it was funny. If you look
Is that funny? I mean, couple of guys sitting around going, the Vatican for straight people. This is the environment. Now, I'm going to explain to you something. Magdalene, are you there?
Yes.
What's your before I explain something to everyone listening, what's your immediate reaction to that?
I think it's an interesting thing. I think Ben Shapiro's done the math and realized that it's a Jewish audience and a Catholic audience that's growing.
Okay. Let me explain to you what is actually being done here. So pretend that this is Sirius XM and I know a little something about this, or Clear Channel Media, or Premiere, or Cumulus, or whoever the station is. What is happening here is that he is removing Catholics. He's taking these chess pieces off the board. Okay? This is how this works. Now, I am in a unique position to talk about this, which is why I don't know why every, quote, Catholic, close quote, podcaster on earth isn't ringing your phone off the hook, Magdalene, saying, how can I get Mike on? I want Mike to talk about this. Because I'm the only one that's actually signed one of these things, and I can tell you what's in it. You want to know what's in it, Magdalene? The contract that he just made, that Matt Fradd just signed. You want me to tell you what's in it?
Yes.
I'll tell you what's in it. Here's what's in it. Here's what is in the detail. They're going to put into these things, and they did, they put these things called non-compete clauses in. And the non-compete and the first right of refusal, there are different legal ways to phrase this, basically says this. Oh, welcome to the Daily Wire. You are now, and they will list all the things. While you are here, we own Pints with Aquinas, the name. While you are here, we own the Matt Walsh Show. It's ours. We own it. Every broadcast you make as a Matt Walsh Show is ours. Every episode of Pints with Aquinas is ours. If we want to put it up as a podcast, we will. If we don't want to put it up as a podcast, we won't. If we want to put a disclaimer on it, we will. It's ours. We own it. We also own you. You will not go on any other media entity. You are hereby forbidden. This is an exclusive non-compete agreement here. Now, if you want to do media appearances on other shows, you must ask permission. Sometimes they'll say in writing, sometimes they'll just say you must ask and obtain permission. In violation to do so would be considered a violation of the contract. You will be responsible for this. You will not own your content. You will not republish your content. You will not rebroadcast your content. You will not make any content that competes with the Daily Wire. So I know this because this is what my contract for 13 years, or actually for the first 4 years, it didn't say that. It was only after Mel Karmazin took over that it said that. As under the original regime, it didn't say that, but after Karmazin came in, yeah, they all said that. And I tried to have it removed every year, and I was told no. The only person that got any kind of a waiver on that, and it wasn't a complete waiver. The only person that got any kind of a waiver on that was Andrew Wilkow. And the only reason he got that is because his daddy-in-law was the president, Neil Boyce was the president of ABC Cap Disney's radio division. That is the only, and you know why they did that? They did that so they'd all have a place to go if they got fired at SiriusXM. So they gave Wilkow the little carve-out here, and it was a little carve-out. Now, I don't imagine that Matt Fradd, Matt Walsh, and Michael Knowles got any kind of a carve-out. So the Ben Father, who's mocking our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who calls him a petty thief and a criminal, has now removed those chess pieces from the board. They belong to him. You will now broadcast your Catholic broadcasting at my leisure and on my broadcast and on my site and only on my site. Can you take clips from your show? Yeah, but you got to get permission. I can tell you that at SiriusXM, they wrote it into my contract. 4 minutes and 59 seconds a day is what they allowed me to take and publish anywhere else. And we did it every day, 4 minutes and 59 seconds. So those three shows and men are basically now removed from the public. As Kurt Wallace once said to me, Mike, you keep signing that contract, you basically sentence yourself to be behind the greatest paywall in the history of paywall. Because people that knew me back then in the SiriusXM days in 2008 through 2000 and all the way to the end of 2015 would say that, why don't more people know about the Mike Church Show? Why aren't you this? Why aren't you that? And I'd say, well, the first reason is that I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to promote myself, and they don't promote me. They never did. The only thing they ever promoted was Howard Stern. So that's why this is a problem. The second thing, obviously, is you now are working for someone who thinks that our Lord was a common petty thief. So, good luck with all that. And if you think that that moves the Catholic ball down the field, the media field, I disagree with you. I'm not the only one that thinks that. I saw Milo Yiannopoulos yesterday come out and go like, this is the worst thing that could have happened. Why are you guys cheering this on? The Ben Father now owns 3 Catholic media stars. Yeah, but they get to do this. Yeah. They get to do it at his behest. He now controls them, which is why his little joke about why now run my little Jew propaganda outfit. Which one is that, Maggie?
You just said it.
Or you just played it? Yeah. Well, that's what it is. I don't want to hear any more from the Ben Father because I've already played enough of him. So, Magdalene, now you know. Now what do you think?
Well, I think that this is interesting because it makes it clear that Catholic streamers and the most prominent people genuinely believe the Daily Wire has the biggest dispensing ability. They have the biggest distribution, and that's very scary. That's a very unfortunate thing overall because if you look at the amount of suspension and sort of pushing out of content the Daily Wire does, if it's rivaling Fox, if it's rivaling those quieter platforms that are used to have millions, or it's rivaling The Blaze, that means that Ben Shapiro's endorsement and his email list is one of the most valuable things there is.
Well, I'm not saying that there aren't numbers that are there. My point is that those numbers are no longer free. What's going to happen if there is another October 7th and someone like Charlie Kirk says, or Matt Walsh goes against what the Benfather thinks about Zionism? We already know what happened to Candace Owens. We already know what happened to D.C. McAllister. There are a couple of other instances there. Will they have some broadcasting success? Yeah. But now you have the situation here. You actually have, all right, now, Maggie, you have to play the Nick Fuentes clip now. Or you don't have it?
It's not on your list, but I have it.
Okay. Now you have to play this. Okay. Here's Fuentes. Okay, this is what Nick thinks about this, who, by the way, has blocked the Crusade channel for some stupid reason.
Have I not been on the money on that? That's why I really need to keep up the pressure. It's embarrassing. Matt Fradd is now at Daily Wire. Pints for Aquinas? Yeah, more like pints with Maimonides. Really? What a betrayal. What a fundamental betrayal. And it's all of them. It's all three of them. Knowles, Walsh, and now Pints with Aquinas, all at Daily Wire, all working for Shapiro, said Jesus was a rebel that got killed for his trouble. Why don't they just form their own media company? I'll give them the money. If money is what they need, we could get the money. I'm sure there is an angel investor out there who would fund a network of me, Matt Walsh, and Michael Knowles. There's got to be $10 million out there for that. Minimum. I'm sure there is an angel investor, a venture capitalist that would raise millions of dollars to pay me, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Matt Fradd to have like a Catholic America First media empire. Would that not be preferable than to have them all working for Ben Shapiro at Daily Wire? I mean, isn't that obvious? Isn't that a no-brainer? So
Yeah.
what are they doing?
All right, fine. Yes, it's a no-brainer. There already is a network that is owned by Catholics. You want to give me $1 million? I'll see if I can lure them away. I'm telling you, they have a contract, though, that they can't get out of. And there are non-compete clauses in there for whatever the term of that contract is. If Matt Fradd said, okay, I'll do it for 3 years, he's stuck. He's stuck. Especially since he's in England. They're not going to let him out of that deal. So, is there, I don't know, maybe there's $10 million of angel investors laying around? Well, you could invest it in the Crusade channel. I think go ahead.
Well, I think that Nick's point is very interesting because there's a problem within the Catholic media world. I've confronted this, just trying to get Catholic influencers on Instagram to agree to interviews. And they want there to be like 16 steps between saying yes or even considering it.
It's stupid.
It's really, really frustrating. And we're not trying to get anything from them. I just want to have them on to talk about their content or have you have them on. And they have decided there has to be like this whole system and hierarchy. It doesn't surprise me that these two shows now exist with Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro, for all of his faults, is willing to do business. He's willing to launch things. There's a go-getterness attached to it. We are really lacking that on the Catholic media side.
Well, as you point out, try and secure an interview with the so-called Catholic influencer or whatever. And as she points out, well, I need to know how many returns am I going to get? How many people are going to see? How many clicks am I going to get? You're not worried about the content and the character of the interviewer and of the quality of the interview itself. So at the end of the day, why are you doing this? It's not for the betterment of mankind. It's not to win friends and influence people. It's not to lead people to the faith. You're doing it so you can have the most amount of clicks and likes. I mean, this is all just this is a race. This is a narcissistic race to the bottom. Then you throw into that environment, you throw the specter of what is happening and Turning Point USA and Real America's Voice and Steve Bannon. And I'm tired of not talking about this because Bannon assured me that he wasn't doing this. Well, Magdalene, you know that's not true. He is doing this. So you then throw into this someone who believes that they should be the kingmaker. And that, again, they should be making the decision for what people who call themselves Catholics can hear on broadcast media and have access to. It's one thing, as I said earlier, to deplatform someone because you listened to the Mike Church show. He wasn't scammed. He wasn't shadow banned. He wasn't under the ban in Real America's Voice. You're not allowed to talk to him. If you do, you're cut off, banned. People actually got to hear or listen to Mike or watch him, and then they decided wasn't their cup of tea, and they voted with their feet. Okay, fine. I'm willing to compete in that market. I have for 34 years. Magdalene Rose, that's not the market I'm competing in. Instead, we have all of these people that have grabbed all of these influencers and all of these talents and all of these so-called broadcasters and podcasters and have basically said, we own them. You're not allowed to talk to them. And you're not allowed to have access to their audience either. Again, if that is a Catholic way to conduct your affairs in public and in business, well, then I'm getting out of Catholicism and I made a bad decision. Because I can tell you that it's not. And that's not ethical and it shouldn't be done that way. But that is where we are. And it's a shame. It's sad. It's sad to see that Nick Fuentes, with his little hissy fit there, talking about Catholic media, could not utter the words, the KingDude. And don't tell me he doesn't know. And then he blocks the Crusade channel.
No,
so, folks, this is what we're up against.
It's very frustrating. I mean, I recently just tried to talk to a couple Catholic influencers to see if they just wanted to come on just for radio interviews. Like, it was not a big time commitment. It was just, they're like 20-minute interviews, and they were doing interesting things. And a lot of them were in Rome. They were trying to talk about the historical beauty of the Catholic Church. And the questions I was asked, like, well, what is the viewership outreach going to look like for my specific interview? Can you guarantee a certain net of influence? They wanted me to run, like, KPIs through a system to figure out whether or not they should be interviewed. And I said to them, I don't really think you understand. Like, no offense, I don't think you really understand how this works. Like, we're just having you on to discuss a thing. No one's charging you for it. You're not paying. There's no reason not to come on. And the antagonism was massive.
Which, again, what is your motivation? The motivation here, and as I said yesterday, somebody told me, I said, well, show me the Catholic media entity that survived. Somebody said relevant media. Well, you might remember that my friend Jesse Romero was part of relevant media at one point in time. And they showed Jesse the door. Jesse would never tell me, so I know that this was a awfully sore legal issue that he couldn't talk about. Because I asked him, I point blank asked him, what happened? And I'm like, dude, you're talking about somebody who got whacked after 13 years on Sirius XM. You can tell me. He said, I don't want to talk about it, Mike. I can't talk about it. Just said, I'm glad I'm out on my own. And I think Jesse Romero has done very well on his own. I think he's a great independent Catholic voice. We have him on the Mike Church show from time to time. If I called Jesse Romero right now, if he was up and he had his phone in his hand, he'd go, KingDude, what's up? He'd answer the phone. That's my point. Why will Jesse Romero, Magdalene Rose, take my call, but some effeminate-looking homo who has 1 million followers on Instagram won't?
Well, it's very frustrating, and I've spoken to those people, and they say things like, well, we're just not sure if he's big enough. And I'm like, well, even if that's your position, that's ridiculous. Like, you're talking to an almost exclusive Catholic audience. Why don't you want to do it? And sometimes it's because of the issues we dealt with before with booking, but sometimes it really is what I think is a Catholic elitism that has grown within the conservative movement. And, Lila Rose from the pro-life movement does a lot of good work, but I will say this. She created a real infrastructure of Catholic influencers believing that they were like celebrities. She has them to her galas. It's very much a celebrity-driven world. The people affiliated with her, this is not her fault, but the people affiliated with her tend to think they're above talking to certain people.
Now, okay, let's talk about the other big, the giant cat in the room. All right, you want a Catholic media empire? You want Catholics on media? Okay, I think it's a mistake. Don't call yourself a Catholic media empire. Call yourself a media empire that has Catholics on it. You don't speak. The mistake here is you do not speak for the church. No one should ever say even a priest should be very careful, and he better be able to back it up that he studied the canon law, he knows the dogma, he knows the faith. You pronounce on things that have something to do with the faith, you better have, number one, your motivation better be pure, and number two, you better have it absolutely correct, and number three, I hate to say it, this is the world we live in. You probably need to have permission of your bishop. He probably needs to know that you're going to be doing that. You live in his diocese and you go to one of his churches. These are now, Magdalene, do you think any of those people ever considered the three things that I just said?
No, not at all.
Okay, that's a problem. Now, let's talk about, okay, here, Candace Owens. I don't know what the big deal with Candace Owens is because I was never a fan. I did not, I knew the name. I never followed her. If somebody would say, would you, back in the Sirius XM days, when she first started, would you like to do an interview with Candace Owens? Absolutely, I'd love to. I wouldn't have turned it. You know, how many interviews have you asked me to do that I turned you down? And it didn't matter who they were. How many?
Many.
Zero.
None. None. I haven't turned anyone down.
Yes, none.
The only one that I asked you a question about was, well, this guy's a Protestant hook and he's promoting an evangelical Protestant book. I got to make sure there's no errors in it. Remember? That's what I told you. I said, I don't have any problem with him. I just want to make sure, because I don't want someone coming back to me going, you know that guy was promoting an error. You know there was a heresy. Yeah, I get it. So I didn't do the interview. So there's one that I said no to, but that was the reason why. I had an actual reason. Now let's talk about Candace Owens for a minute. I'm not sure how she became this mega, and then again, this is the cult of personality, and I guess I don't have one. The cult of personality, where Candace Owens is like, she is the conservative black woman, the pretty conservative black woman voice, right? So right there, those are wins for conservatives, and conservatives have this sick, twisted need to feel loved by people that hate them, right? Radical, angry feminists hate them. Radical race hucksters hate them. Candace Owens is a woman. There's the feminism card. Candace Owens is black. There's the black card. So they found someone who defied the feminist card and the black card. And they went, oh, we must have her. She's the greatest thing ever. Yay, rah, rah, well, Candace. Again, I never listened, so I don't know. I'm not being judgmental whatsoever. The clips that I've seen of Candace, I like her. And I would do the interview tomorrow morning. I'd be honored to do it, or I go on her show, or whatever the case may be. Having said all that, where does she fit into this? Maggie, play the Candace Owens clip again. Where does she fit into all this? This is what I'm trying to figure out. She has FU money, right? You know that. She doesn't need any of us. Yeah. She's boasting and bragging about all these people that are joining her book club. I'm like, the Crusade Channel needs people to join our book club so we can survive. She doesn't need any of that money. She's still doing it. Okay, fine. All's fair in competitive enterprises. Okay, fine. Play the Charlie Kirk clip. What?
I reflect on that moment. And I think it was right after the memorial service, a couple of days after the memorial service, where Alex Clark released that interview with her and Andrew Colvett, and they struggle sessioned through that. They were like, no, they were both committed evangelicals, and him and Erica, and he liked the smells and the bells. He loved the architecture, but there was no more substance for him. I really struggled with that, and I struggle with it even more now that I know that Charlie Kirk has a lot of questions about what about his burial? How come we haven't seen anything about his burial? We saw so much and then we saw nothing. And the reason that's like a big hush-hush secret is because Charlie had a Catholic funeral mass and he is buried in a Catholic cemetery. Yeah, but really it was about the architecture. I want you to understand. Why the little lies?
Okay. Well, obviously, they're protecting evangelical and Zionist donors. That's why the lie. Follow the money. That's why the lie. Now that it's out, I don't know what good that's going to do. What's her play here?
Well, she wants to be the main truth teller. The problem with Candace Owens is that there's been many things that she has said she's the truth teller about, and that wasn't really the case. I think that the subtext here is that Candace wants Erica Kirk to come out and say that she's right about everything. That's not going to happen. Erica Kirk she is a Catholic, yes, technically, but she's not a practicing Catholic. She very much talked about leaving Catholicism. She said a line that she repeated many times is that she didn't need an intermediary between her and God. She's talked about this for many years. So I don't think it's necessarily just the donors. I think if this is true, if Candace is right, Erica Kirk is going to uphold with her children and with her family for the Protestant religion, the Protestant beliefs. Kirk may very well have had a Catholic evolution. He never said that Erica was. There is nothing out there that Erica was joining him in this, that was what was occurring. Just because she is taking her children with him to Mass does not mean she was part of it. He even said that she was even harsher of a Protestant in recent months before he died. So I think that Candace is trying to push Erica Kirk into a place. And if that's the goal, I think she's really miscalibrated, because Erica Kirk is going to double down even more on what she had before, and that's her Protestant belief. There's no way for Candace to win here.
Okay, I have an impeccable source that who cannot be questioned. If that source told me, and that source did, that Charlie had a Catholic funeral mass and is interred in a Catholic cemetery, then that's what happened. And again, I don't need to call that source up and ask them 30 questions this Sunday. The source told me, and he told me, the source told me this in confidence, said you can't broadcast that. Well, Candace Owens broadcast it. So I wrote him this morning and I said, well, look, it's out now. So I can corroborate that part of the story. And my source is not Candace Owens' source. We actually know now, Magdalene, who's the guy at TPUSA who is the source for the Telegram messages?
I don't know.
Remember, the dude, he did a show. He filled in for Charlie. And
Tyler Bauer?
Yes.
Tyler Bauer.
Yes.
Yeah. Tyler Bauer, yeah.
Okay. And he said, I'm the source. I'm going to tell you where she got those from. Yeah. I provided them. So we know where the source of that, at least one of her sources. I don't know where the other source is, but I can tell you that my source is rock solid and has no reason to tell me that what he told me. All right. So where does that leave the Enterprise? Well, I think, and if you watched J.D. Vance last night, there's something that J.D. did last night that tells me he is already looking at 2028. He announced and introduced himself. He said, I am raising my children. Usha and I agreed, we are raising our children as Christians. Okay, that's a quote. Magdalene Rose, listening audience, did you catch it? Did you see the nuance there? Did you see what he did?
No.
He's raising them as Catholics. The little boy went to First Communion. Christians don't go to First Communion. Catholics do.
Yes.
He has begun the 2028 campaign. If they ask him, are you, what Christian denomination? Oh, I'm Catholic. He's going to say, for sound bites and for public consumption, I'm Christian. Now, are both true? Yes, they are. One plays politically with with the double size of the crowd. One plays to half of that crowd. Do you get that? You see that? That is a smart, shrewd move. I may not like it, you may not like it, and Catholics may not like it, but that's a smart, shrewd move. That tells you that his positioning for 2028, and he's going to evolve into this, is yes, I am a Christian. And there's no way he can run away from that. He's not trying to run away from it. He's trying to thread the needle there, and he's trying to avoid saying that he's Catholic. You know why? He read his history. He doesn't want to have to go to the United Methodist Club in Houston and give a speech like JFK did and say that he doesn't listen to and he's not going to answer to the Pope and this and that and the other. I get it. I understand it. Everybody should get it and understand it. You may not like it, and you may wish it was otherwise, but that's what's happening here.
Yeah, it is what's happening. And he mentioned that he's in like an interfaith marriage and that he hopes that Usha has an awakening to the gospel in her heart. He talks about that. It's wise to get in front of that because that is an issue amongst people. People don't like it. And one of the reasons I think that, like you mentioned, like what is Candace Owens' goal here? What is the game? She's expressed extreme frustration with the fact that she's not part of the future of Turning Point, that she's not part of the future of the young conservative world. I think she kind of believes that she's Charlie Kirk's intellectual heir. And because Vance and people are coming out and they're taking over the pulpit and they're going on the speaking tour, because Vance was filling in for him on the speaking tour, I think she's getting more and more frustrated. The truth is, even if all of that is true, like you said, he's interned and it's a Catholic mass, it doesn't change Candace Owens' position within Turning Point. It doesn't make her more powerful, and I think she's looking for a way into leadership, and she's not going to get it.
Yeah, and apparently there is a competition there. And again, what I think most people cannot understand about this, Turning Point USA is a hundreds and hundreds, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars a year enterprise. You go to one of their conventions, you go like, whoever put this thing on knows how to do this stuff, right, Maggie? The columns are lined with TPUSA branding. You can't swing a dead cat by the tail and not hit TPUSA branding. You know what they're doing? You're worth probably upwards of $1 billion now. So this is a corporation here. Charlie Kirk was the CEO of a corporation. And CEOs like that also have to play the front man. That's a very rare thing to do. You can't just go to the CEO store, and buy a CEO who's also a good public speaker, who actually believes that, right off the shelf there. So this is a huge vacuum here. And if I had to guess, it's going to be filled by someone who's Machiavellian. Someone is going to get in there who is willing to kill. And I don't mean kill figuratively as in murder, but is willing to bring to an end other people's careers, who is willing to bring to an end the stature that other people have. Who might a person like that be? Well, didn't he do it something of the sort at Breitbart? Yeah. Isn't that what Bannon did at Breitbart? So yeah, there is, and these moves by Shapiro. Is Shapiro trying to say, hey, all you Catholics, TPUSA is Protestant. It doesn't like you. Yes. It doesn't want you. Yes. I have the power. Isn't that what the move is there?
I think so, and I think it's important that you mention that because the idea that Turning Point USA is a Catholic organization is not true. And I think Candace is desperately trying to make people think it's just not true. That is an organization run by the most hardline Protestants I have ever seen. They are uncompromising. They are completely, in many ways, against Catholicism. They don't like it. So I think Ben Shapiro is trying to say, if you are a Catholic, there's room for you here and come join us.
Well, and I'm not saying to anyone that I don't think that Candace, I actually ended my question with a question mark. What is Candace's play here? Maybe she is just trying to get to the bottom of it and to the truth. She played a clip yesterday or 2 days ago from our buddy George Webb. Did you know that?
Yes.
She played a clip from George Webb. 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Candace Owens is now linked to Mike Church because she played a clip from our buddy, multiple interviewee. He'd come on tomorrow if I ask him. George Webb. What's George Webb saying? Well, I don't think Tyler Robinson did this. So is she relentlessly trying to get down to the bottom of this? I think at the end of the day, what they're trying to basically say here, just reading between the lines, is that the bad people, the bad Red Sea pedestrian people, thought that Charlie was going to jump ship and was going to become confirmed in the Catholic Church, and that he was going to turn anti-Zionist, and that was a massive, massive problem for someone that had the hearts and minds of millions upon millions of young people of the future, and at one point in time had convinced them all that Zionism was the way to go. So was there, if you follow the money on that, was there an incentive for someone to kill Charlie? Absolutely. But then again, Tyler Robinson said he had an incentive to kill Charlie, which was, I can't take any more of the negativity, right? Now, this is from his phone. It's not me saying this. Is what's on the phone message. So is she plumbing the case to try to get to the bottom of it? Well, if we know anything about how these people cover their tracks, there is no getting to the bottom of this. It will never be known. Ever. Never, ever.
No, it won't. And I'll mention one thing. You mentioned like Bannon and the idea of the Daily Wire leaders, Ben Shapiro there. There were a lot of times where Bannon did not think Charlie Kirk was going far enough right on many things. Yes, they were on War Room together, but there was a frustration that Bannon had expressed where he felt like Kirk was keeping young men in particular in this like holding pen ideology-wise, that they weren't going far right enough. I think that is a much more easy relationship for Bannon is a Fuentes-Bannon alliance than a Kirk-Bannon alliance, because if you think about it, Fuentes is much more at the point of where Bannon is. They're always sort of calling for civil war. They're in that sort of doomsday vibe a little bit more. That alliance, to me, is a lot easier, and Bannon will get much more of what he wants out of Fuentes than he would out of Kirk, because Kirk had people around him. Like, there's a base, there's a family, there's a wife. That's not the case for Fuentes, and he's new to fame in a lot of ways.
You know, I'm flattered by the fact that Steve Bannon thinks that I am such a threat to his rule and to his hegemony that he's removed my chess piece from the board. I really am flattered by that. And all of you that are Founders Pass members, you should be flattered by it too. That doesn't make it right, and I want it to end. So I was just going to say that. And I'm going to start going to people. I'm going to go like, why aren't you on the Mike Church show, bro? You know what? I'm going to start raising funds for my nonprofit, and I'm going to run ads, and I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to tag you in it. Nick or anyone else. Why? Why are you avoiding me? And somebody, somewhere along the line, is finally going to crack and is going to say, oh, the Real America's Voice dude did it to me. Or, Steve, the people are under marching orders from Bannon. Now, you don't have to mention any names. You talked to someone a couple of days ago, and again, you don't have to mention any names. You had a conversation with someone who told you that the Bannon Catholic ban list is real, correct?
Yep, I did.
And follow-up question, am I on it?
Yes, and there are quite a few people, and the main tagline that I got from that was that especially older people, not in their 40s or 30s, because Bannon wants to be the lone voice in Catholic politics right now.
He wants to be the elder, aged statesman and the only one in the room that anyone listens to or thinks they should listen to. Isn't that what the source told you?
Yes, and that there is definitely a concentrated effort primarily for people who can do politics and faith. He doesn't want that. If you can do politics, that's fine. But if you're an older man who can talk on both, he's going to kick you down. He wants to be the only one in the room.
So, which is puzzling as to why the Nick Fuentes ban or why he blocked the Crusade channel, because it wasn't blocked a couple of days ago. So what made him do it? Either someone has access to that account and they did it, or someone told Fuentes, well, you're not going anywhere if you're following. I see you're following at the Crusade, at Veritas Radio Net. You can't do that. Can't do that.
Yes, and I will tell you, we were not blocked a few days ago. I know that from using that account and being on there. And I think that it could be someone on his team, but also we don't know the types of lies that have been told. We don't know what we're dealing with on a constant basis. But I do see this wall coming up more and more. I know other people who are affected by it, and it really does seem like the entire network of Ben Shapiro, those people, Bannon, they want to colonize, and they want to control J.D. Vance well before 2028.
I think that's correct. And it's an intriguing conversation we're having. They're loving it in the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. I was going to add one more thing to this. And I knew this probably a year ago. I never said anything about it, but I started thinking about it and looking at it this morning. You know who needs a go-to Catholic guy that can talk about Catholic stuff on his show and has not blocked me and actually follows me?
No.
Crowder. Stephen Crowder has followed me for 8 years. I looked it up. Steven Crowder has been on Mike Church. He's had plenty of time to block me or to do whatever. Crowder follows El Jefe Dude. I follow Stephen. Now, I think that, Maggie, you'll remember this with the ring cams with his wife and all this. They tried to take him out. Remember that?
Yes,
a year and a half or so?
yes.
They tried to take him out.
Yes, it was brutal, and she is still on Twitter as well. She regularly bashes him. It got very nasty. There were gag orders. It was a long, drawn-out process. And I will tell you, very few people in conservative media stood up for him.
I understand that. We were playing it going like, what the hell is going on here? And I even said at the time, I don't know because I don't know Stephen personally. But this just doesn't it doesn't look good. But then again, this is the old ruse. And okay, when did you stop beating your wife?
Yeah, we don't know anything about that situation.
So I don't know. But okay, so to be clear, what you people need to hear, and you didn't hear it correctly. I'm not joining Steven Crowder. I'm not endorsing you and telling you you ought to be listening to him. I think he has some good things to say. I appreciate the fact that he went to the black barbershop. I think he does some good work. What I said was, now that the Ben father has removed, and Bannon's removing the rest of all the Catholic voices, media voices, from the chessboard, I could be Steven Crowder's Catholic guy. I could go on louder with Crowder and see if he could say, King Dude, I don't understand this. I'm not a Catholic, obviously. You are. Can you explain this to our audience? Sure can, Stephen. This is what's going on. Boom. Imagine the hit.
I would love to see it.
Dude, imagine the panic attack at Daily Wire, at Real America's Voice, and at TPUSA. Mike Church went on with Crowder. No, we can't have that. We shut him off of all media. We can't have that. And I truly believe that is what is happening here. So, we'll see.
I do. I mean, I'll tell you one interesting thing, like when I go to do Bookings for You. We are now at a point where warmongers and neocons are always willing to come on the Mike Church show. And traditional Catholics tell me, I have to think about it. Or my personal favorite, I have to run it by my team. You have to run it by your team to do a radio interview.
Oh,
That's
please.
where we're at now.
You know what? Start sending me the names. I want the names. Because every time somebody says, send me the names of the people that have told you I'm going to run it by my team. Yeah, I'm going to run I'm going to run you past my team of Crusaders. This is so silly. It's so stupid. In any event, it's great to talk about. Okay, Magdalene. Hey, and Daniel Martino, DiMartino went great today. I don't know if you heard.
Great. Yes, he was great.
No, he was. So he's going to get deplatformed now. The poor young guy. I feel sorry for him. I'm going like, oh man, I'm going to ruin this guy's life.
He does not like Bannon. I mean, and that might be one of the reasons why that went through.
Well, you tell him that we thoroughly enjoy talking to him, and we'll love to talk to him again. You know, and I think he really appreciated that I actually knew my history of Venezuela.
Yes, he is such a history nerd. It's very clear.
Because he was probably expecting that most media people are stupid, folks. Don't kid yourselves. They're looking at screens, they're reading teleprompters. Television, politics is TV for ugly people. Well, I can tell you, conservative influencing is broadcasting for stupid people. These people aren't smart. There are some smart ones, and they're wise, but most of them aren't. Magdalene Rose, thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow for Free Phone Friday.
Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. So there we go. What was the show that Tina Fey was on? The movie? Mean Girls.
It's the junior high never ends.
Wasn't it? This is an episode. This is Mean Girls 2. This is Mean Catholic Girls.
I told you, Catholics can be vicious.
Yeah, Maggie has been telling me that you've never really met vicious, vindictive people until you've met Catholic, vicious, vindictive people. Yep. And I don't know why that is. I really don't. In any event, great show today. Thank you for being with us. If news breaks out, we will break in. I need to get all of you into a Crusade Channel 10th anniversary T-shirt and red cap work shirt. So if you need a more dressy kind of shirt, the button-down red cap is for you. If you want the powing around, show up at a Crusade Channel event. The Crusade Channel 10th anniversary beautiful T-shirt design done by yours truly is for you. I need you to order them quickly. Don't wait because we're going to run out. I'm going to place an order. When that number is done. They're gone. Go to shop.mikechurch.com or go in the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. You can get the link in there. Or check your email for today's church doctrine. And if you're not getting the church doctrine, why aren't you? I think the sign-up page is crusadechannel.com/Mike. I believe it is. Somewhere in there. You should sign up to get the Church Doctrine Daily email newsletter. And actually does have news in it. Lots. And quotes and from famous cool people and stuff. So in any event, please order your shirts today. We send an email out. We're going to send another email out just for the shirts later today. But you can find them at shop.mikechurch.com. We have sizes small all the way through 3X Fat Bastard. If somebody wants a 4X, send Maggie a note and I will add it. I just didn't put it on the order. I can add it. But you have to ask for it so that we can add it. A 4X. Please don't ask for a 5X because I don't want to go to your funeral. Yeah, well, I shipped in a shirt. He had a cardiac arrest before I got a chance. So, in any event, shop.mikechurch.com. And thank you very much in advance. Take advantage of your friends and family. Can join the Crusade Channel for 3 months free. There's a 3-month free trial that's going on right now. And that link was in the chat room earlier today, but we'll put it in there again. It's also on the site. I'm going to put it at crusadechannel.com/join. So I'll get it up, add it up there today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for all your comments and for your prayers. We sure as heck need them. If news breaks out, we will break in. Meanwhile, we will see you tomorrow for Free Phone Friday. God bless you and Merry keep you.
I'm going away, babe, and it won't be long. I'm going away, and it won't be long.